Let's get on this because I think it's important.
I'm
Yo,
willing
what
to.
up, what up, what up, and welcome back to Pinoy Live. Man, listen, all right, it is Saturday night, and my balls are empty and my pockets are full. So, that must mean that like life is okay right now. There's a fire roaring outside. I got motherfucking, some motherfucking drink at my feet. I got a snack beside me, and I got my brother TK Mao on the live stream. I think it's go time in the end of the day. Legit, I think it's fucking go time. I wanted to have a conversation about this Texas school shooting, right? And like before we get started, we are not going to address like the gun aspect of it or the aspect of who did it or the aspect of like what race an individual is. We're not getting into any of these things because I don't care, right? Like I'm 8 levels removed from giving a fuck about any of these things. I want to have a conversation about how the cops sat outside and waited for this dude to finish killing and sat there and tased regular citizens and arrested individuals for trying to go into the school to save their kids. Um, I think, and I've been saying this a while, I think our state doesn't really have the ability to actually conduct like state business and government as a whole. TK, yo, what are you thinking about this, man?
Something late stage capitalism, something weapons of war, something patriarchy.
Well, I understand your point on that, right? I mean, that's legitimately a really good point at the end of the day, right? I mean, like I can't really argue against those things. But I can argue and say that I think that the fact that the police are scared to do their fucking jobs is really showing and exposing what this system is, right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. Like fucking. Probably the best way to describe it is, you, me, every red-blooded individual in this live stream right now. We grew up in a time where school shootings were not a thing that was unknown to us as Americans, right? Like we're all aware, and we've all always been aware that school shootings are a thing. Like this is enough of a cultural staple in America that right wing wine aunt Marjorie Taylor Greene is a freaking survivor of a school shooting, right? Um, so let's all be real here and say that this is, at this point, something that is unique to the American condition one way or another. And it's not left wing, it's not right wing, it's not, any particular race. This is something that's wrong with us as Americans.
Well, I mean, like something like this happened in Britain and then they banned all the firearms.
Well, the thing is that after they banned the firearms, they just stopped talking about shit like this happening. Like, if you're talking about a per capita basis, we're not actually all that unusual. It's just that we really, really cover it.
Okay. So like, all right, I want to kind of get away from this ideology, right? Because like, if y'all don't know my stance by now, my stance is that I think like the zero tolerance laws in schools are actually causing this, as it were, right? Like, well, it's the fact that like literally like most of our kids are raised, in single mother homes, and then they're never taught to fight, never socialized properly, and we end up bringing an argument between two kids. Bring a man with a gun in the badge into an argument between two kids every time somebody gets into a fucking shoving match. They call the police and threaten to throw one of them in the Bing, right? And this actually ends up escalating the situation because it's that John F. Kennedy mentality of, if you make peaceful motherfucking revolution impossible, you're gonna make violent revolution motherfucking, inevitable. Kind of on that fucking level where like, if you make motherfucking like fist fights illegal, motherfuckers just gonna start shooting each other. Just how it works. You know what I mean? Like, you make alcohol illegal, motherfuckers are gonna make bathtub gin and start mobs to motherfucking like get this shit distributed. Like it's just how it operates. Like criminal enterprise motherfucking like takes over these things and it becomes a very like, you know, fucking bad fucking scene. But in the meantime, let's get past all that, right? And let's get to the mentality of these cops were scared to fucking go in, right? And I'll be honest with you. You can't shame human beings into not being cowards. And how they're actually recruiting these police officers is something that I've been really taking a look at, right? Because the majority of these fucking police officers aren't recruited from the places where you would think they would be recruited from, right? Because back in the day, like all of us knew all these fucking like where the cops came from, you know, like everybody watched Police Academy or whatever the fuck it was, right? And like, you know, you got this idea that like, yo, fucking all these fucking guys are blue collar individuals who, you know, I mean, came up tough and, you know, like fucking their dads were cops and all these type of things. When in reality, go ahead, man, go ahead.
The stereotype is that they're jocks who couldn't do anything else after they got out of high school. That is the stereotype. And you know, you can say a lot of things about washed up jocks. Calling them cowards would not be one of the things you can say about them.
100%, because these aren't washed up jocks.
Right.
Right. These are middle class kids. Right. And the bitches, they're dummy middle class kids. They're literally like, they are the stereotype of what rappers used to fucking say about it. They were like, oh, like they would say that the cops were like fucking the kids in school who got fucked with, right? And literally that's who these people are. They're the hall monitors and they went to college for criminal justice, which, by the way, going to get a degree in criminal justice lets a motherfucker know how dumb you are, right? If you spend $80,000 on an education to get a job making 35 grand, you're a special type of moron. You're legit.
Yeah, especially since there's all sorts of police academies that I think half the states they'll pay you to go there.
No.
Go for it.
No. No.
There aren't police academies?
Okay, so like here's how this operates. You go to school and get your degree in criminal justice, right? And then you go to the police academy to like motherfucking like do like the physical shit and the gun shit and like the rest of like the extracurricular, like learning the rules of the road type of deal. You know what I mean?
That sounds like exactly the opposite of what should happen.
No.
Like it like my mentality is, you know, you run the beat for a little while. And then, you know, if we can identify that you can handle human beings in a stressful environment, that's when we start, you know, sending you off to college to learn, okay, this is how you process this type of evidence. This is how you file these types of paperwork. That's how a sane person would design the system, is first take a person and see if they can be a cop. And if then they can be a cop, then figure out if they can do the other stuff that requires training. The other way around, that's like starting from the roof when you're building a car. That just doesn't work.
Well, that's what we've been doing, right? And that's why, like, yeah, like I've told this story, and I'll tell the story again, right? All right. So I have a kid who's a knucklehead. My 20-year-old. He's a lot like me. He's a fucking asshole, right? And he got high and laid down in the middle of the motherfucking road, right? And like, fucking somebody called me, like, you need to come get this motherfucker. And I was like, all right. I went and grabbed him, put him in the car. You know what I'm saying? Got back to the house. Get back to the house. About 4 or 5 minutes later, police show up. My kid's still in the car. Whatever. I'm fucking dealing with his nonsense, getting him a drink, and I'm cooling him off because he's all like overheated or whatever, right? And so like, fucking like these 4 or 5, it was like I think 4 cops, right, were all behind me, like behind my fucking car, and my car is pulled in forward. I'm not in the driver's seat as per se, like I'm like, You know what I mean? Like fucking standing beside the car talking to my kid. And I go around the back of the car to get to the back passenger seat because I needed something out of that. I don't know what the fuck it was. But as I'm going around the back of the car, as I walk past these individuals, right? What ends up happening is these fucking cops all take a step back and put their hands on their motherfucking service weapon, right? And in doing this, right? What ends up happening, there you go, time force. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna hop in, come hop in, right? What ends up happening, like these motherfuckers all showed fear of a dude who was literally just taking care of his fucking kid, right? And these are not like old cops. These are young men, like they're like fucking 23, 24 years old. And I'm at this point, I'm like 30, 32, right? And they're not bigger than, and these are state cops. These aren't like local fucking bullshit cops. Like these are state troopers with vests on, guns on, tasers on, mace on the back. 4 of them backed off from one dude. I'm not that big of an individual. I'm 6 foot 240. Right at that point, I was probably about 260, but I was fat. I wasn't fucking, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like fucking diesel. I was fat. And legitimately, like, I've been saying this for a while now. All these cops are scared shitless. And I don't think that our system, as an in general thing, has the ability to continue to operate, period. Like, I don't think it can enforce fucking laws anymore.
I mean, it really. Hey, what up?
What's up, P?
Yo, what up, Florida? How you doing, man?
Good. I was just watching a couple of videos past couple of days about the whole shooting. Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all, like, man, listen, like, yo, we're approaching this from a different angle, right? We're not gonna approach this from like the fucking kid or like where he came from, any of that. I want to approach this from the cop angle, right?
Yeah,
I want to approach this from the cops, right? Because that shit there is worth having a conversation about in our neck of the woods and what we do over here, right? In a societal aspect. But TK, man, fucking finish your statement, my brother.
Yeah. Fucking. I was just wanting to welcome my man Florida there in the middle of that. But I feel like at least some of this has something to do with the mechanics of how we implement. Well, I need to break myself of this fucking habit. Everybody, unless you were employed by USG, do not say we when referring to the United States government. It's just a bad habit. It's a mindset all of us we need to get out of, right? So let me rephrase that. I think the way that police in America have executed the war on drugs has at least led to part of this, because you've got.
Let me throw a different angle at you, right? So, like, okay, can we go back to Uncle Ted for this one here, right? When he talks about the 2 separate types of propaganda, he talks about agitation and integration, right? And when we talk about fucking Yarvin, we talk about, you know what I'm saying, the cathedral and how the cathedral, you know what I mean, tries to bring more individuals in. I think what they tried to do, right, is stand here and take their enforcers and give them title through like motherfuckers standing here going like, yeah, you're a respected member of our society because like, yo, you went and got that degree, right? But in doing so, you ever watch, there was a movie, and I hate fucking calling back fucking pop culture references, but like there was a movie called Public Enemy with Johnny Depp and that smoke show bitch. I forget her name. She was in fucking, goddamn it, fucking Inception. Inception. It was about like it was the John Dillinger movie. Anybody see that shit? No, by chance. All right,
I saw trailers for it, but I don't think I saw it.
All right, yo, you got to watch it. It was fucking great, legit. The opening scene, like legitimately, just the hammering of the motherfucking Tommy gun with them 9mm shells banging at the motherfucking at the fucking prison.
Wait, right? Is this where he's a mafia boss? Oh, I'm wrong.
Nah, man, he's a fucking bank robber. He's fucking John Dillinger, right? So like, but he's going up against Elliot Ness and these boys, right? And basically, what happens is that while they're trying to stop guys like Dillinger, right, who are fucking soldiers, you know what I mean? Like these guys came out of the war, they came out of the depression, like they came out of like just fucking hell in the backwater, right? And so they're trying to bring like these fucking middle class, really nice, like fucking well kept fucking white people to go after John Dillinger, right? And go after these mobsters in Chicago. And like basically it gets down to the point where fucking the dude is sitting here going like, yo, look, our type of people can't get this done, right? We need real fucking warriors out this bitch. And I think they're bringing more of their people to try and like solve their fucking problems. And it's just not working, right? And it's, it's the worst plan ever. Going like anybody could have called this, but TK, what do you think?
I'm trying to find the exact emperor I'm talking about. I want to say Ortho.
Okay.
But what happened was at one point in time, basically the Senate put a new emperor on the throne after the last one died. Happens a couple of times in Roman history. But the other thing that they had been doing and that they did do is that they just steadily just lobbied to get their people into the Praetorian Guard. So the Senate was choosing the private army for the emperor. And what ended up happening was that army went out to go fight, the Rhine Legion or something like that. And they just got their shit stomped because it's a bunch of, prim and proper Romans picked by the Senate versus, the Rhine Legion, who is fighting against Germans for their entire lives. Right. I feel like we're kind of at that point where the Senate is just stacking the admission lists of all of the Praetorians, and I don't know who's going to be our Rhine Legion, but
are you talking about that our own government is going to be hiring mercenaries to fight our wars?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I mean,
so, like,
we're already doing that, but
well, what he's saying is that basically these people, instead of like hiring like the people, all right, so the guys who used to be cops were like fucking warriors, right? They were, like blue collar, hard nosed, hard drinking motherfuckers. Yeah, they're probably racist.
Oh, I think I know what you're going. You mean we're hiring people who have no life experience, who aren't cut out, or they have nothing. Like you said before, they just know college. In another video, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the deal, right? They're literally, they require a college degree to be a cop.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought they like once you graduate high school, you could just go to a police academy or whatever and just start.
No, you have to go get an associate. You have to at least get an associate's in criminal justice.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, I knew some old friends of mine that would go. I thought it was so they could get more pay before they went to the police academy, but no. Okay, wow, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was them just trying to be detectives.
Yeah, like something like, because I remember it was a guy that was asking a cop, so how can it be detective after like how long will it take? I thought it was something like that. That is dumb as hell.
Nah, right. Like legit, like fucking like, if you want to be a fucking cop, you have to have an associate's degree in fucking criminal justice. Right. And that's what they're doing now, right? They're literally, all right. So like I meet cops every once in a while, or like cops in training or whatever the case might be, right? Like I know some of these guys. And so like these cops who like, I was at a party recently, right? And I'm over here at this actually it's probably like last year before or something like that. I think it was during COVID. I'm over here and I'm hanging out at this party, and I mean like it was last year because my son was born. So fucking me and my girl go over to this party and we're hanging out, and fucking like I'm accustomed to being around this family because like this family is individuals who like I grew up with. Like I've known this dude who fucking like the guy who the party was for is a brother of the dude who I've known since I was 4, right? And like so we're all white trash together, you know, like we fucking family. And so like they have everybody go around like and like literally like say something they fucking remember about the fucking birthday boy or whatever it is, right? And I brought up, you know what I mean, that like, yo, I was there the night that fucking Weston spit on that fucking cop and shit, right? And everybody like fucking just fell back aghast because like there was a cop in training who was in motherfucking college to go be a fucking cop at that moment, right? Because like literally like, yo, you have to go like to motherfucking be, you have to go to college for this shit. And a lot of places, what they're doing, that's just like the fire departments. If you want to be a firefighter, you also have to go to college for that too.
What the fuck are they teaching you in college to be a firefighter for? You just don't be weak, lift up the body and get out of the burning bit. Like what?
No, you have to learn all the firefighting techniques, man, and all the shit about like how to like, you know, fucking like move roofs or fucking whatever. All the bulls they got to like knock a hole in the roof or you know what I mean, how to hook up all the shit and like how to put your gear on properly. All these things. They send you to college for that shit now.
Just make it like a boot camp. There you go, done and done.
That's what they did in college.
Ugh, no,
they folded it all into the college system now.
Yeah, and let's be 100% real on part of why that happened. Like it's the same reason why trade schools are now universities. It's because once you have the fucking student loans through that institution, well, it's a lot easier to just get people to sign up for student loans than try to figure out an entire different funding program.
Yep. Right. And that way, like, yo, if you get halfway through the police academy or whatever and you wash out, it's not on the motherfucking cops, right? Like fucking you don't have that problem. Now, if you wash out of college, you end up with loans for like half of your college and it don't matter. They didn't spend no money on you. Right? Like, yo, literally, it's gotten so bad you had to go to college to get a fucking forklift degree now. Right? Like, yo, they folded so much of this shit into their fucking system because they want their people out here doing this shit, right? And this is why I'm saying, this is why we're having this stream, is why I'm like talking about this, because to me, this is fucking fascinating. Like, I'm looking at it like, yo, kill the beast while it's wounded, right? I'm like, yo, I have never once motherfucking seen in my life cops literally just go, yeah, we're not going to fuck in there, man. We might get shot, right? When there's fucking children involved.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I remember there was I saw online years back that there was a stabbing in New York where these two cops went into the subway and there's two guys wrestling because one guy has a knife, but they didn't enter because they didn't want to stab. And the Supreme Court says, yeah, you know, the cops aren't there to risk their lives for you. I thought, fine, whatever. But with kids, it's like, and not even that, these cops literally tackled down, what was it, parents that were trying to save their own kids, but the cops can save their kids, but others couldn't. Like what,
they tased them. They tased the parents trying to save their kids.
This is like some Family Guy, South Park bullshit, like or Reno 911. Like this is the most like sad, retarded, hilarious shit I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, no. They're not here to protect you. They're here to protect capital.
But even then, it's like if the parents want to go in, even risk their own lives, fine. But you tase
No. You can't do that because it like understand like there's a reason why they did that shit. They didn't do it just because they're dumb. Well, they did do it because they're dumb. I am not defending these people in any sort of way. I'm saying like it is their training to do that type of thing because if a parent gets injured because they ran in past a cop, then the cop gets in trouble.
I can see in that, but then yet the cops did go in and save their own kids. But the cops are in trouble either way. Like this was the most pathetic thing I've ever seen.
No. I like watch this happen. Like not a single goddamn cop will have a goddamn thing happen to them. Fucking 20 of them sat out there listening to kids get fucking popped, and not a single one of them will happen to any one of them because every one of them was following protocol.
And yet everyone gives me a weird look when I say, yeah, I don't need the cops. My responsibility is my safety is my responsibility. That's why I always carry, for fuck's sake.
And I suppose this would be a good time to mention black powder pistols are not technically considered firearms in the United States.
They're not. You can be a felon and own black powder rifles.
Or her pistols, and there are conversion kits so that you can have cartridges for such a thing.
Yeah, I mean, like if you get caught with that, you know what I mean, like you're gonna get pinched. But like, all I'm saying is that how do I put this? Shit's fucked up, right? And like, I don't think that this system can like. I've known for a while that like they literally have no control over what the fuck is going on, right? Like I've known this forever, right? I've had this understanding for a long time. Like 50% of murders go unsolved because they're fucking useless, and like they really, honestly, don't really have the ability to do anything.
Yeah, when I went to get my D license for security. Even the guy teaching us, he was a former cop. He even admitted, said, yeah, the FBI, they're all just a bunch of lazy pieces of shit. They don't do anything. It's like these are former old cops saying, yeah, the government sucks. Police can barely do the jobs. What was that one guy named Plumber from TFM's Discord way back when? He used to be a cop, and even he hate cops. Like cops hate cops. That's how bad it is.
Well, let's be 100% real here. Is this the cops' fault or is this the system's fault?
System.
I want to see the system as a whole.
Yeah. Like my thing is that like I am not the type of person who will come down real heavy on somebody for being a total bitch, right? My problem is mostly if you are a total bitch and you put yourself in a situation where you need to be a man, I'm sorry, you need to know yourself well enough to not get put in that situation. And that's why I judge these cops harshly. Because if you know that you can't take a bullet for a kid, then you should not be a cop.
Yeah, it's like there was just one guy I used to work with. He said, I started to not believe him for after a while. He said he used to be in the Marines. And that when he went to, I think it was Iraq, and he got shot at, he said he ducked underneath cover and his own like sergeant told him to get back up and start shooting. Like he's admitted to me like it wasn't for him. Like, he's a big lefty. And I just asked him, what did you think it was going to be? Sunshine and fucking rainbows? Like when I was going to join the army, I didn't have any illusions. I knew shit could get bad. I could lose my life. I guess
a lot of people lose their fucking bladder control once it turns into a two-way rifle range. It's not for everybody by no means. I feel like you and me are kind of running Tom Pinoy's show, though.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Man. My mic came unplugged for a second, and then like I was kind of just hanging the fuck out. Right. Listen, y'all are getting it done. Like I'm down. Right. But I wanted to stand here and I got to tell you a couple of stories, right? And this is why like I understand like the cops a little bit more than like a lot of people do, right? So when I was I think 12 or 13 the first time I got arrested, right? And they held me for 3 days because I refused to give them my name, right? And so like I sat there for 3 days and just kept giving them fake names and fucking around until somebody came and got me, right? And after that, like I got locked up again because like a cop tried to Brody me and I'm all fucking spun around and hit him with an elbow and shit. And then as he threw me in the fucking car, I fucking kicked him in the fucking balls and shit, right? Ooh. But then later on in life, these cops came to my fucking house and there was like, I swear to Christ, 15 fucking cops came, right? And I heard the one or look at the other one and go, this guy don't look that big, right? And I realized that legitimately, like they were fucking scared of me. And later on, I got arrested again at a stop sign. Like they were fucking pulling everybody the fuck over, running warrants. Cause like fucking, whatever, like it was going into the fucking city. And like, as they ran me for warrants, they found out I had warrant. parked my fucking car, fucking sat there in fucking handcuffs for like 45 minutes. I had the money in my pocket to pay or whatever. And this cop comes up, this black cop. He's like, "What you gonna do, white boy?" I'm like, "Yo, bro, don't talk to me like that. You don't know who the fuck I am." Right. And like 5 minutes later, this cop comes back over and goes, "Man, I'm sorry, man. I don't want any problems with you." These cops have been bitches for fucking years. For fucking years. They've been fucking punks. Legitimately. And like, this is something that I've seen like for a while. And I didn't know if it was nationwide or not. And apparently it is. That these fucking police legitimately, they don't have the balls or the fucking, how do I put this? They don't have the will to fucking stand here and enforce the shit that they're putting, like that the fucking legislators put. If the legislator banned guns, they couldn't fucking take them.
No, that's impossible. They would shit their pants even at the mere thought.
Like, you realize they'd have to bring like fucking 10 cops to each fucking gun owner's home?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's bad. Actually, no, you just reminded me. There's a YouTuber called Icy Mike. He's a martial artist. He used to be on the SWAT team. And he was talking to this one guy who's currently a cop. And he's like, "You know what? I don't have to talk like you guys. Cops can't fight for shit. They can't fight. They automatically put out a taser or a gun just because a guy swung on them." And it's like, yeah, you're right. They are complete bitches. Even it's like I can see it when I get pulled over by a cop. They just look kind of timid. It's like, dude, just give me a ticket and get the fuck out of my face, whatever. Like, I can see it.
Yeah, and that's why, like, yo, when you watch them, like, you remember when cops used to pull people over a while back, right? And like, when they did, like, the cop would just pull you over, you know what I'm saying, hand you a ticket, and everybody went on about their way. Now, when they pull people over, there's usually like 3 fucking cop cars there.
And they used to only do that if they had a drug bust. Like out here.
And then now they're just doing it all the time.
Yeah, like that's how you used to know it was a fucking drug bust, because somebody would have 3 cops on their ass. Right?
Yeah. When I used to live in a neighborhood, I think a house down the street from me, I think a guy OD'd, but there was like 6 cop cars over there. There was no shooting or anything. They were just all there. It's like, Jesus Christ, did you really need that many people for a guy who OD'd?
Yeah. So, and I think sorry, I just started talking before I really should have. I think part of this is that, like, cops can only really. I think a lot of cops have realized that they can't really enforce anything against a non-compliant population. Although I doubt they'd be able to articulate that, even that articulately. So one thing that makes me think about is, I think it was like a year or maybe 2 ago when all the Second Amendment sanctuary counties were coming out, and there were all these right-wing sheriffs going, "Oh, we're not going to do da 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 da." It's making me think that maybe that they weren't being all buff and bluster, but actually just proactively cucking out, realizing that when push comes to shove and the feds say, "All right, it's either us or your population," the population has more guns, right? As far as at least on their local level. And it makes me think, at some point in time, Biden is going to push it too far. And I'm thinking that specifically Biden is going to try to push some shit too far, and is going to force some of these cops to make a decision on, which side they're on. And I don't think the cops have the bravery to actually stand up to the citizenry or the government. And I don't know what happens in that situation.
It's getting close.
Well, here, all right, during COVID, right? Literally, like, the fucking, like, because, all right, so we don't have, like, local cops here, right? Like, we don't have sheriffs, we don't have county cops, we don't have local cops. All we have is state troopers, right? And so literally, like when COVID happened and like there was all that mask mandate and all the nonsense, like, yo, they sent out a fucking letter to the people and said, we're not doing this. They flat said, we're not doing it. Period. You know what I mean? Because they knew, number one, it was unenforceable right here. Like, what are you going to do here? You're going to tell Amish people what the fuck they're going to do. You're going to tell Mennonites, who, by the way, are armed to the fucking teeth. Like, Mennonites have fucking shit the rest of us wish we fucking, like, Mennonites got that. They got
Military
Gatling
grade.
guns. They got Gatling guns. They don't fuck around, right? You're going to tell them what they are and are not going to do in the middle of the woods in a mountain?
Yeah, because remember, a lot of these Mennonites, they have grandparents who were alive when machine guns were completely A-OK legal. And these are people who take care of their fucking heirlooms.
Yeah. Like, legitimate, like, yo, you are never going to stand here and be able to enforce something on guys like us. It's just never going to happen. Right? Like, we will come out fucking heavily armed, swinging firearms around. We don't give a fuck. Right? And so the problem is that when I look at the system today and I go, there's no fucking way. Like, there was a story here recently where a state trooper tried to enforce a warrant and a guy came out with a fucking gun in his hand. The cop just started letting off. This motherfucker let off 13 rounds and hit the door frame. Oh, that's all. He hit the fucking door frame around the guy. Didn't even hit him. Right? And the cop got fucking blasted. Like, these cops are fucking trash. And if the people start realizing that, like, they have no real enforcement vehicle, this fucking shit's over with. Because, like, yo, without the threat of fucking force, there's no fucking government. There's no state.
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah. And I think this kind of goes to what a lot of, like, Michael Malice and these types of people are saying, which is that a lot of the order that we enjoy isn't actually because of the state. It's because everybody generally, if there's a pretext to do so, acts more or less correctly, right? Humans tend to like to act civilized as an in general thing. And if you can set up a pretense for them to act civilized in, they'll tend to do it. The issue is that once that facade has been broken, I don't think you can put Humpty Dumpty back together unless you have like a legitimate strong man who can hold that shit together for long enough for people to, you know, put that particular illusion back over their eyes. I might just be rambling at this point.
No, you're 100%
No,
right. No, you're 100% on point with your idea there, man. Legit. And this is kind of where I wanted to stand here and really get down to, is that at the same time they're talking about banning firearms, the cops literally just let 20 fucking children get killed in the fucking school and didn't do anything about it because they were too scared.
Yeah.
Right. And like, it's an argument of, you know, understand something. Like, I know that like these people, they live in these cities where they're all civilized and shit. And the reasons why is because like they think if they don't, they will go to jail, which is a lot of this is the single female fallacy, right? Because like the single female is fully reliant upon, you know what I mean, the fucking system enforcing her rights and her ability to be single and free, right? So therefore she has to live in that illusion. It's Law and Order SVU, right? It's NCIS. It's motherfucking, I don't know, all these other fucking ridiculous, you know what I mean, fucking alphabet name fucking shows.
Yeah.
Like standing here trying to tell them like this is how the system works, when in reality, that's nothing like how any of this works. the majority of the people, like, what is it? It's something like 96% of all cases are fucking solved by a goddamn fucking plea bargain because they know that they can't win in trial, right? And they know that they don't really have the evidence. Their DNA shit has been completely exposed here recently as being complete and utter fuckery. The whole system is falling apart. And at some point here soon, like, Americans as an in general thing is going to have to really think about that and go, well, what do we do? Right? Like, yo, because I'd love to live in anarchy because I got guns and ammo and I'm a big dude and like I'm fucking smart and I'm charismatic. So I do really well. But there's a lot of people who would, right?
I would not be happy, but I would be alive.
Yeah, it's I
think you would be happy, TK, if I'm honest with you. I think you would do much better in, you know what I mean, like a much more wide open type of system.
I would too. I hate the system. Everywhere I look, I just hate fucking cops. I hate all this bullshit. I tell people, dude, rely on yourself, your family, your neighbors. Stop looking at the goddamn government. Be alive, be free. Be truly free, for fuck's sake.
Yo, Willie, let's keep this 100, dude, right? Yo, look, it is way easier to go to Walmart and buy a gun than it is to go to the hood and motherfucking buy one. All right, legit. Like, it's just 1,000% easier to go there and buy a fucking gun. You're just broke. All right, yo, get some fucking money together, bro. Like, legit. Walmart sells guns and they're fucking dumb cheap and they're right there and it's really easy. You gotta fill out like 5 forms and wait for it to come back. It takes like an hour, go and do some shopping, whatever. Go and, you know what I mean? Like, go holler at some bitches, go take a shit and go back, go get your oil change or something. Get your life together, bro. Like, yo, fuck. God damn.
Yeah,
I go to my local pawn shop down the street. They got all this shit. They got all the guns, all the ammo, and they see me every week and they're good people. Just like how you go to get a fishing lure from a guy instead of just some shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that knowing your local gun dealer or your local FFL at the very least is something that I would heavily suggest to everyone. If nothing else, just because if you see something on gunbroker.com, then you don't have to like jump through a bunch of hoops to get it. You can just call up your friend and he'll get it for you.
Yep. So, man, every time I go to gun broker, oh, look at some of these guns I can't fucking afford yet. God damn it.
Yeah.
It's like a porn to me. It's like, I want that.
Yeah, Willie. Like, if you can't afford a C note for a gun, like, you're kind of in a bad place. I'm not gonna lie. It just like.
Even in my local shop, in the local FFL I go to, they even do layaway on guns if you can't afford it right away. I'm doing that with the bread right now.
It's your life together.
Yeah, like
it's not that hard.
Motherfucker, like $1,000, that's something that you can easily put on a brand new credit card if you have, a credit score this side of 500.
Yeah. Like it's not. I don't know, man. Fucking like a Willie's broke all the fucking time. That's like half the goddamn problem and shit. Like,
stop buying weed, Willie. Get off them drugs, man. Save that money. Come on.
Yo, look, sir, stop buying weed and alcohol and like get your life together. All right, man. Legit. You're like fucking 31 going on like fucking like 76. Okay. You literally look like you were born in 1955. Okay. It's fucking weird. And you even dress that way, which is even weirder. You know what I'm saying? Like, legit, I don't know how the fuck you ended up making, like, you look like you belong in the movie Dazed and Confused. But anyway, right? So, like, yeah, and this idea of where we are with the fucking police as an in general thing is just, it's fucking strange, right? Because I've known this for a long time. Right. And I'll be honest, the person I would love to be here right now is motherfucking Dip. Right. Because like, I'll be real, like Dip could motherfucking run the gambit on this one here. But like the cops haven't had control for like fucking 20 years and nobody's noticed. And I don't know why. Go ahead.
I think some people have noticed, and I think with this, what happened just Texas, I think a lot more people can go, dude, what the fuck are like people I think now are gonna start questioning like what the hell do we need cops for? They can't even do this shit. It's like with that Las Vegas shooter. There was a video of some old guy, an old cop guy trying to go up to the fucking floor with his pistol, and he was scared shitless. I think when more of this stuff keeps happening, more and more people are just gonna start to really think like, what the fuck are cops good for?
I mean, I would like to think that, but unfortunately, like the public has the attention span of a gnat. Like you realize in 1, 2, 3, 4 days, there's going to be pride flags on every fucking bio on Twitter. And everything we're talking about right now will just be gone in a flurry of faggotry. Right.
You know, you may have a point because even though there are some people who have finally said fuck the blue, I still know people who are going, no, man, you know, the cops, we got to support the cops. And I'm just like, dude, after everything that's happened, why?
Support your local sheriff if he deserves it. And only if he has proven to you that he deserves it.
To me, it's just like rely on yourselves, rely on your neighbors or family. Just don't even ever think about the cops. Oh, the cops, again, they clean up the mess. After you shot the people trying to break in your house, they're on the floor with no head, then call the cops over to clean it up for you. There you go.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah. Well,
just
like
stop.
that is what a cop should be. Well, that's what a sheriff should be. They should be there for serving warrants, taking in criminals that have done heinous crimes and haven't been retributed upon, like murderers, this type of thing. And then they're there to basically give out tickets, right? So you doing your job in your household should theoretically make a cop have less to do, right? And I know Tom Pino didn't really want to get into this particular subject, but it's so interlinked into this whole school shooting nonsense that it kind of has to bring up. We don't have fathers at this particular point in time, and that means that the government has to try to fill that hole, and that just doesn't work, because the only way that you can stop a kid from being a shithead or a woman from getting harmed is to have a dude right there, who
stop it
is
all before it
monitoring,
escalates.
the woman and her child. Almost like you could call them something like a husband or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, like, we can have that conversation. I'll be real, because like I'm be perfectly honest with you. Like, half the problem with the entire policing shit is the lack thereof of fathers and men in the community as a whole, right? So like the methods by which, like, me and TK Mao right now are reading a book called the Albion Seeds, right? It's a book about the English fucking migration to America from different parts of fucking England or Great Britain, as it were, whatever, right? And he's listening to it at one time speed. I'm listening to it at 1.35. You know what I mean? Because I'm not interested in waiting that long to fucking have this slow ass British dude talk to me, right? But and I'll also skip chapters about like names because I don't fucking care. But also, basically, when you start getting into this and you start hearing about like what he calls the folkways or the cultures of like the fucking towns in places like Massachusetts and Virginia, right? The premise gets down to of where literally like, so how do you keep police in line, right? Like, how do you tie everybody in the community together, right? And this is something that like we've all been missing like sorely and badly for a long time is listen, Florida nigga, like, get some goddamn WD-40 on that chair, son. Fuck, homie. Like,
what do you want me to do, man? I fucking try, man.
Man, listen, you over here like fucking like just scrooching and a roochin'. You sound like you got ADDs, fucking like, man, listen, scratch your ass
off, man. Leave me alone.
Fuck, man, Jesus Christ. Anyway, right? So like the whole so like, how do you keep a community tied together, right? So like, if these cops, right, were part of this community where like these kids were important to them, right? Because when I was a child, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Fucking like, we had like police officers who would be at baseball games running like concession stands, like buying ice cream for motherfuckers and shit, man. Listen, like, blue collar, I understand, bro. Like, WD-40 is like just the standard, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you say. Right. Anyway, right. And like, they would stand here and literally be tied into the community and give a fuck about the children in the community because they fucking knew the kids, right? Like, they were there literally being part of the fucking community. There was this Officer Baldwin, who, you know what I mean, shout out to that motherfucker. Like, this was the last good cop I ever knew in my whole life. And like, he had like cancer of the nose or some shit towards the end, you know what I mean? But like, this dude would go to the St. Margaret Mary's Fair, and he would come over and like just be there with a stack of motherfucking ones and like buy all the fucking kids goddamn fucking like fucking Italian ices and shit and gelato, or like he'd be there fucking at the little basketball joint challenging kids, right? And so when he was out here policing, he didn't have to like arrest the children. He didn't have to like question like what they were up to because he knew the fucking children. And if something like this happened at like a local daycare, as portly as the guy was, right? I'm not gonna call him. I'm gonna call him portly as he was. He would motherfucking die for one of those fucking children and shit, right? He would give a fuck.
I feel you, Tom, but like, part of the problem that we really have to get into here is that a couple of these cops who turned up, they went in, they got their kids, they got out, and then they stopped other parents from doing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. That's the most fucked up part about it.
Yeah, like, so these motherfuckers, they were nominally part of the community. They probably showed up to those fucking games or whatever you're talking about, although I guarantee you it's not nearly as like integrated as an experience as you or I had, because like, we didn't have the exact same thing, but like, cop showed up to the local mountain oyster fry, this type of thing, and like, I get what you're saying with that. Unfortunately, we're in the case where these cops knew some of these kids, right? Like, you don't not know any of your kids' friends while they're going to school. I mean, if you do, you're a terrible person. Besides,
no, like, yo, legit, man. Listen, like, I'll be real with you today. You as a father try to avoid knowing anybody the fuck else as much as possible.
I would believe that, unfortunately. Regardless, so like, still, these cops should at least nominally be integrated into the community, because some of them went in and got their kid out, right?
I think it's what Pinoy said a lot, is that, we live in neighborhoods but don't know each other really. I think they know some of the people. Maybe they just never really cared that much for them. Something like it's somewhere around there where they're in the community, but they're not really in the community. It's not like it was like, 15 or 20 years ago or 30.
I feel you, but like, let's be 100% real here. There are a couple of cops or there are a couple of, I don't want to actually call them cops, like that I forget what his name is, but if we're gonna start like lipping off at motherfuckers, we do need to give credit where credit is due. And there's like a border patrol dude who his wife texted him while he was in the middle of getting a haircut, and she was just like, "There's an active shooter. Please help. I love you." And he took the barber's shotgun and ran out as soon as he could, and he ran out, and I think he's actually the dude who ended up killing the fucking
Yeah, it was the Border Patrol who shot the guy.
right. So that dude, respect, but even if they're just physically there and not really integrated, I hope those cops who were waiting around there have plans to move.
Oh god, yes. Oh, like just
Because that is not going to be a pretty situation, even if everyone involved is
not
much
fired.
more rational than, honestly, I would credit them with being, right? Like, I'm sorry, but if the dude who just stood by and watched my kid die lived right next door to me or whatever,
and tased you for you trying to rescue your own kid.
yeah, in that particular situation, I don't even know if I would get the chance to do anything to him, because I'm pretty sure that at least a couple of my relatives would have already killed him.
Yeah, it's like pack your bags, get the fuck out, erase your identity or some shit, or go live in Mexico. You're done, no matter what happens now.
Yeah, and like it was bad enough with that Sandy Hook nonsense, where like that one cop, there was one cop who like bitched out. No, fucking 20 cops strapped to the fucking gills just stood out there.
Didn't
Like,
some, I could be wrong, didn't some of that in the Sandy Hook, some cops go to jail because they weren't doing their jobs? I'm not sure.
I think some of them got moved, but I'm pretty sure none of them went to jail.
Or at least got fired. It's just been so long since for me to remember. Yeah, it's like anytime shit like this happens, like parents, go get your kids. Your cops aren't gonna do shit. Just go.
Yeah, no fucking joke. Like,
bring your uncle or Sam who has guns, shotguns, and just fucking.
No, you have a gun, and I do not condone this specifically, but I would personally consider shooting anyone who got between me and my protecting my kid as self-defense, regardless of what type of uniform that person was wearing.
I mean, like, so, and here's this is some of the problem too that I'm having with this is like, it gives a lot of fuel to those conspiracy theorists to go like, oh man, they're just letting this happen, right? Because I don't, man, listen, if that is the truth, right? Those cops need to be like put in front of a fucking wall, right? But if it's what we're saying happened, like they literally just bitched up, they still need to be put in front of a wall.
Oh yeah, just like no,
either way it goes, right?
I mean, to me, the most fucked up part is yes, letting the kids die like you sack of shit, but to even further to literally stop parents from running this. I don't give a shit if you're afraid of getting fired. To tase someone who wants to save their kid and now their kid is dead. That's like an extra. No, now you need to be put up a wall, shot 100 times.
I'm gonna tell you like this. If this was one of my kids, right? Number one, I would have showed up heavily armed and I would have literally like put holes in the police if they tried to stop me. That's being 100% honest with you, right? I would have went to jail for murder that day. I fucking promise. Right? The fact that those parents who outnumbered the police, by the way, didn't body them again shows the American people as a whole are like unbelievably soft, right? And like I'm reminded of like ancient history sometimes where I stand here and like you read things and you hear about how like when a people were conquered and then they took their children and daughters in front of them, you know what I mean? And like, you know, stripped them and did all whatever they did with them, right? And like the motherfuckers just like watched in horror, whatever the case was. This has kind of always been a thing for upper class individuals, right? But like to know that like normal human beings will allow would jump to the date. They're what? Yes, like that's my job. That's literally my fucking job as a dad. Is to motherfucking like go and take care. My job as a dad is to make sure my children are safe, no matter what happens. That's my job,
Pinoy, and say I would hope that anyone with a pair of testicles, if they had been in the area, would have done something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nephews. I don't have kids, but my nephews, you
No,
know,
like
I would have gone into like fuck this shit, fuck you
Well,
guys.
here's the thing. So,
not nephews, not any of this bullshit. I'm saying if this had happened just at like you were driving through the fucking city on, you know, on a road trip and you see this happening, I would hope that you would go and post up for that. I respect the viewers of this channel enough to assume most of us would be down for that. Am I wrong?
Like 100%. You know, I mean, like especially, I mean, we got the retarded genius in the chat right now. I know he's down for whatever. You know what I mean? And
well, yeah,
Willie,
he needs to go to Valhalla, right?
Yeah, and Willie would die. You know, what I mean, for a cheese sandwich. In the end of the day, right? You know, blue collar
with salt. With salt.
No, you don't need to. Yo, look, man, seriously, he doesn't. Just the cheese. All right, he don't even need the fucking bread. In the end of the day, like that motherfucker would die for just the cheese, right? But like, it's on that level, and I think also Dark Star's here. I know that motherfucker legit would like go ham, give zero fucks, right?
Well,
but like
Dark Star wouldn't need to sacrifice himself. He'd just kill everybody else.
Well, all right. So Joshua, understand something. They're not afraid to do their jobs because there's no dads. They're afraid to do their jobs because, okay, this is something else that I've noticed recently. As any of y'all Florida TK, have you been around any police as of recent?
Do you mean by like getting a ticket or something like that?
Not in the last,
as in general thing.
Not in the last really. 2 years.
Usually like if I see him on the road driving, but no.
Last time I was around a cop, it was this border patrol dude that I used to work out with.
Okay. All the old cops are gone.
Yep.
Every cop now, now at the moment, is under the age of 35.
Fact.
Yeah, you said that before. Yeah, I agree. It's most of them are just in their like early mid 30s
or 20s.
That too.
And what has life been like for an American middle class individual who would want to go to college and be a cop in the past 20 years?
Oh shit!
What?
It's been entitled while also being degrading.
Yep. I mean, like, these are guys who literally, like, played video games their entire motherfucking lives.
Yeah, the Call of Duty generation.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I would contest the fact that just playing video games is a particular, I don't know, feature.
Yeah, I wouldn't
But
say completely because of that.
right, because like understand that this type of attitude can be cultivated in any sort of idle pastime. It's just
Well,
that, you know,
well, I'm saying like,
video
yo,
games is what.
they're
Right,
not,
right.
they're
Go for it.
not like me who came up playing football and baseball and being outside and motherfucking like leaving and going and doing shit and you know what I mean, like making bow and arrows out of rubber bands and motherfucking sticks in the motherfucking woods and shit. You know what I mean? Like they weren't out here fucking fishing and doing all. No, they were at the house. You know what I mean? In a
I'm,
bubble in a
Like,
cocoon that
I'll
their mama
admit, I
made.
was kind of all those things. I did play a lot of video games, but I also played a lot of sports. Me and my friends would go to the woods, like, yo, let's go to the woods, see what's out there. Like, all right, shit like that.
like,
But yeah, we were everywhere.
yeah. Like you're not wrong, Pinoid, but I feel like you're kind of underselling it a little bit because, like, specifically, a lot of these people aren't just middle class, because like
They're all
middle class rural people are different than middle class urban people. A lot of these are urban middle class folks,
No,
because
no,
like,
no, they're not
go
urban.
for it.
They're suburban.
Okay, so understand that when I say urban, I mean like population over 5,000 people in a county, right?
Well, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say is so like the difference between urban and suburban, right? So like suburban, and we've had this conversation about what suburbs are. I made videos on my channel, like, and I love the ideology that this one
The
guy
government
came up
doesn't know what it is.
with. Well, yeah, that's fucking hilarious. But on top of that, like the idea that how do I put this? The suburban motherfucking structure is basically a nursery for white children. Right. It's a
Yes.
nursery for managerial's kids.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's been like pasteurized and homogenized and motherfucking cleaned. And like it's kept perfectly pristine with nothing for them to do. Right. Other than structured activities.
And that is bad for human beings. Well, you know, it's bad for human beings, but you know, you got the entire compared to what thing going on here. Suburbs are better than raising your kid in the suburbs is definitely better than raising them in the inner city, right?
I mean, could you start, Kate? Oh, I mean, because I'm pretty sure you could steel man the other side of that argument and go, there's way more adversity in the motherfucking city. At least they would come up with some type of backbone.
I'm talking about like as far as ensuring.
If I had a gun to my head, I'd go suburbs than inner cities.
I'm talking about like ensuring that your kids survive to adulthood.
Okay, I agree with you, but so it's the idea of Machiavelli, right? Machiavelli in The Art of War, he talked about motherfucking, by the way, I check my playlist for this one. It's in the first chapter. Basically, he had this premise where he said, like, where if you had the lotto, which is a draft, where would you pull the people from? And he said, like, I would pull my leadership from the cities and I would pull my infantry from the country, right? Because like the city individuals, you know what I mean, know how to deal with other human beings, right? And know how to be leaders, but they're very, very bad with like a pick and a shovel, right? They're not going to be like really good at like, you know, digging a trench or like fucking building a fucking fort or whatever it is, right? They're not going to be accustomed to that, but they're pretty good at like when it comes to like, we know how to organize other human beings. So motherfucker, artist bread, like this is not the time nor the place to have that conversation, but I still think China can't and or won't attack Taiwan because like, yo, we'll just fucking barricade them and it'll be what it is. Anyway, right? So this mental of, you know, like what does the suburbs offer, right? Because like when we were talking about cities and rural in Machiavelli's time, we're talking about cities and farms. The suburbs offer the worst parts of both of those, where literally like you're going to be around people, but it's all like completely fucking structured to where like you can't fuck it up and you're not going to get the like the experience of being able to grow to be like fucking leadership material. And on the same point, you're going to have space, but you're not going to do any work because you're not fucking farming anything. Right?
I agree
You get what I'm at?
with you.
You get my mental?
I get you. I'm just like trying to retroactively explain decisions. I'm not trying to justify anything.
Oh no, I feel you, right? I feel you, but like I'm just
right.
on this level where it's like, like if I wanted to have a cop, right? You know what I'm saying? If I was like building a police force, I would do it the way Machiavelli did it, is where like, all right, like I would have, like fucking warriors from the motherfucking farms, and then I would have fucking guys from the city who knew what the fuck they were doing, right? Like, like you'd have a good mix.
Right.
And the suburban guys are great for dealing with like the mall, right? But they're fucking terrible when it comes to you expecting them to have a backbone and they've never fucking done anything.
I feel you. This might be a little bit of a tangent, but like I'm seeing a string here and I'm gonna pull on it.
Go ahead.
At this point in time, do we even need suburbs anymore?
Yes.
Okay. Like let me know why, and we can, I guess, go from there.
Okay. So the suburbs are probably United States' greatest invention, right? Because basically what we've done is we've given everybody enough land that literally you could make a human being self-sufficient and a family self-sufficient with modern techniques of farming, with hydroponics, with solar arrays on the roof, with and still have the ability to have the room to move around, not be attached to other human beings, and build a proper community, right? If you utilize them right, the suburbs would be the best thing you could possibly have. The problem is while we treat suburbs, it's like they're all HOAs, right? Even though you're not part of an HOA, it's still on that same mentality of everybody's going to stand here and motherfucking like paint their fucking house the same color. All your grass has to be the same height. Even though you're not even in an HOA, you know what I mean? Like there's still all those same dumbass fucking rules.
Yeah.
Okay, we're go ahead.
No, I agree. I hate the HOA.
Right.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
my problem with your statement there, Pinoid, is that you're saying that suburbs are great except for everything that makes them suburbs.
No, not at all.
No. Like I feel you as far as like the organizational aspect is, but like what you're describing is almost everything that the suburb as we know it is built around, right? And that's what I'm saying when I'm saying that. Like
no.
all right.
No, man.
Like
no.
I'm willing to be wrong, but the way I see it is
no, because like so the suburbs originally what they were set out to be was to be
whoa, motherfucker! Like address what I fucking said, because I said suburbs as they are now.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, as they are now, they're fucking trash. Right.
So what you're saying is that suburbs are great except for everything that makes them suburbs as they are now, right? Like I'm not trying to say that, oh, the idea of having like a radial distribution of populations based on, some population center with some medium fucking population distribution called a suburb would be a bad idea. That's not what the fuck I'm saying, dude. I'm saying the way we have it right now, we might be better off just like bulldozing everything in that ring around the inner city and just starting from scratch.
Okay, I have a better idea, right? Hear me out. Like I have a better idea rather than bulldozing it, because there are some things that can be utilized and converted, right? And that's kind of my mentality. So like what
I
you'd
was
have
being
to do,
hyperbolic, but thank you.
I feel you, right. You know what I mean? Like so, and listen, fucking my man has like 18 different motherfucking joints, but I'm gonna keep wrenching them, right? So like my mental is that I don't think that we should just like fucking throw out the baby with the bathwater, because I think they could be a great thing if we got rid of the principles of like the small town management type of ideology, right? Like if you got rid of like all of the fucking rules, right? And let individuals live in a better fucking way, right? Let them live how the fuck they want to, and allows individuals to stand here and like say work on their car out front, you know what I mean? And like be able to like have actual blue collar people in there doing blue collar shit. I think they'd be 100%
Do you
better.
mean make it a little less government and a little more free
Mm.
to live?
Yeah. So like, and this is where I'm going to butt up against you a little bit more again, where I'm like, that like you're describing what is effectively not a suburb at this point in time, right? So like you're talking about not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, which I kind of agree with as far as like the infrastructure goes. But like my vision of this is something a little bit more along the lines of this. So we have at this point in time a situation where about 10 to maybe on the high end 30% of our population, and working age population at that, actually produces everything we need. Am I wrong so far? Tom, you there? Am I screaming
Tom?
into the void?
All right, repeat that for me though. I was listening, but I couldn't hear for a second.
Yeah, so somewhere between 10 and 30% of the working age population actually produces the vast majority of what we use, like electricity, food, water, this type of thing.
Yeah.
So what the rest of us do is effectively at this point in time some sort of mechanism to distribute the resources that are excess produced by this system in order to create a consumer economy, right? My idea is simply that instead of reorganizing these systems in order to simply create more consumers and waste time and consume crap, what we do is we set it up so that 10 to 30% of the population continues making everything as we are now, but now instead of paying Karen to do bullshit office work, we pay Karen to do bullshit garden work. Right? I think honestly what we could
You mean to have people work more directly with the people who distribute that 30% of stuff?
No. Like
No,
I think honestly what we could do is instead of having like excess workers, occupy themselves doing, soulless office work, we could have, the rest of the population that needs work to do just turning the entirety of the Mississippi River system into a giant fucking garden and maintaining that, because that is a job that you can endlessly sink hours into and you can endlessly improve. And that's going to be both more satisfying and more productive than, you know, TPS reports. Go
Okay,
ahead,
so
Tom.
like here's all right. So here's my mental, right? This is like what I think should happen, and I think this is how kind of like you fix a lot of these problems. Is instead of allowing these places to tax their fucking citizens based on their property's value, right? You tax based on like sales, right? You put on like a local sales tax or something along these type of lines, right? And
Consumption,
basically,
not value.
yeah, right. So what you're doing is you're de-incentivizing them to make property values go up, right? So you're getting government out of the business of making the value of their infrastructure go upwards, right? Which in turn stops them from giving a fuck what their fucking people's property looks like. Right. And it stops, you know what I mean, them from all fucking standing here like giving a shit about whether or not like your grass is cut or your fucking roof needs trimmed or whatever the fuck you're doing at your house. Right. You know what I mean? And therefore, you know what I mean, like you sit here and have the ability to have individuals have the freedom to be able to do the things that they want to do, like go and garden and like have chickens out back and have like fucking goats and shit or whatever the case is. Right. And this way, like you're able to have a more sustainable fucking society as a whole, right? Because right now, a lot of the problem is in these fucking suburban areas, as it were, is that you literally can't really fucking use your land for shit that's able to help your family prosper. And you're de-incentivized from doing so. And you're incentivizing the fucking the fucking boroughs and the management and the townships and these garbage ass fucking people to be in the business of motherfucking like standing here worrying about what you're doing with your property.
It's true. I really want to start raising chickens, but I don't think that stupid OHA or whatever would let me in my area.
Yeah. And understand that these little projects that individuals get going to, you know, improve their lot in life or their property and this type of thing. This is how communities get started, is that, you know, you raise a bunch of chickens, you got a coop, and, you know, what's going to happen is at some point in time, you're going to either have a shitload of eggs or you're going to need an extra pair of hands to help slaughter them. And you know who you're going to turn to when that happens? Your fucking neighbor, because they're right there. Right.
Okay, let's address this, right? And it is China's fault. It's not China's fault. What it is this, right? So in the 1970s, right, we had a major problem where literally like fucking how inflation happens as you know it. Fucking TK, I swear to fucking God, don't you start your autistic shit on this, all right? Fucking like right. So like what we have discovered over the past fucking 20 years, over the past, probably 20 years or so, is that inflation is not caused by money printing, right? And it's fucking crazy that that's not a fucking thing. What it's actually caused by is fucking people having more ability to buy shit. And so therefore it's actually caused by individuals getting more money in their fucking pocket. And during the 1970s and during the 1960s and 70s, we had rampant fucking inflation to the point where literally investment was fucking impossible because there was no way to gauge what a return would be if you were having 5% fucking inflation a year, right? And it's happening, like we called it growth because that's what it actually was. It was fucking growth in the real economy. But the problem is that literally we were getting too much money as labor. And labor was standing here having the ability to unionize and strike and break fucking the investment fucking side's ass, right? And break their fucking, their hold on things. And so what ended up happening was there was a market-friendly fucking coup in the fucking government, which you would call neoliberalism, right? This was Reagan, this was Clinton, this was Bush. And basically, what ended up happening is that they opened up more markets for fucking manufacturing so that they could fucking take the manufacturing from here and put it over there. It's not the fact that we're lazy. It's the fact that literally the market forces really do work when it comes to the labor market. Because if you trap fucking manufacturing here, they just have to pay us more. And you heard like these dumb fucking ideas about some guys getting $32 to put a lug nut on something. Well, let me tell you like this. The largest value-added product in any economy is fucking cars. Legit. It is the greatest value-added product in the fucking world altogether. There is nothing that compares to fucking cars, right? So when he's talking about getting $32 an hour, right? That's something that like was a fucking positive thing for real fucking human beings and families and suburbs and fucking like real workers. This is how you pulled the lower class out of fucking poverty in the Western world. And standing here fucking sending that fucking shit over to China broke that fucking grip that the American citizen had on that motherfucking, on the actual fucking economy itself, and destroyed families and put us where we are today. That's important to understand. There's a reason we're having these conversations. There's a reason everything is falling to shit. It's because of the fact that like people have these attitudes of we're so lazy, because we're not. Because if you want to be able to survive and be able to have a fucking home and a car and a place to motherfucking like fucking lay your head and cook food and eat, you need the ability to make American money, right? And they go, oh man, these guys will work for 3 cents an hour, because 3 cents an hour will buy you fucking a house over there, right? Over here, that doesn't work that way. It's relative. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you can go over to motherfucking like Nigeria and rent a fucking whole house for like $5 a month, right? It's different. That's why, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole different animal. The entire economy is a different thing. It's important to understand, like, yo, everything is fucking relative. But anyway, man, listen, like, I just wanted to put that out there because it's fucking important. You know what I mean?
The only thing that I would like to put on top of that, and I'm not even going to go on the economic stuff because, y'all have heard me screech about that enough.
Yeah, man, we just went from like 20 people to fucking 11 when we fucking took the mic for a while, and I went and fucking tucked my kid back in the bed because they woke up screaming. So yeah, let's not get all fucking autistic about shit. Right, let's get back to the suburb thing, right? Because like I legit
thank you for letting me know that like I'm driving off your fucking viewers and shit.
Yo, it's cool. I love you, man. You know what I'm saying? So like the thing is, and you're the smartest guy I know, right? So like that's why I love having you around. But the thing is, like, yo, smart motherfuckers are boring to like, like guys who want to hear us go, well, those democrats are over here fucking trying to destroy our country, right? And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Like, yeah. But
you know what I mean?
The only point I wanted to throw on top of what you had there was that for men, status is not a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not, because status is how you get a mate, and unless you are okay with just being a virgin, right, you need some amount of status as a man in order to live in any sort of way. And I think a lot of people just completely ignore that because they want to act like just because it's economically viable in one arena or another, or because it's cheaper for them. But no, like, understand that when you are working with another man, part of what you have to deal with is their social status. And part of how you have to pay them is you have to pay them enough to maintain their social status. And people can act like that's a frivolous thing, but we're human beings, we're social creatures. That's not optional.
I feel you. I feel you. Right. But I want to get back to like this fucking suburban ideology because I like it. Right. Like this is my dream legitimately is to create, like, this is why, like, I want the white trash in the States. Cause like, I'm like, oh, look, I want to be able to have a place where you can do what you want with your property and your land because it's yours. Right. I want an unrestricted fucking society, right? I want an unrestricted fucking life. I think that's something that we should think about and think about going back to, because when we start talking about like what the suburbs produce as far as human beings are concerned, right, is they produce these soft, weak individuals who are only able to function in and around people who came from the same shit that they came from. Right. And is ending up in the like fucking colleges and academics and fucking management. And it's something that I think it bleeds into more of our society than we realize. And this is kind of the problem when you look at these cops. That's kind of what they came from, right? Like these cops came from like fucking safety and being raised around safety and going like, I'm not going to risk my life. You know what I mean? I'm not going to like do the right fucking thing. Right.
I feel
And
you, but at least part of this has got to be the fact that like 2/3 of our workforce has some sort of college degree, right?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Like I agree with Pinoid, and I agree. I want to say, yeah, that suburban life, colleges, no father around. I think it's just a lot of this. The system is just completely broken. It's destroyed. It's all this stuff.
I agree with you, right? And like we've stated on here, how literally like the reasons why, like this is kind of like what like woke me up to the idea that capitalism is fucking retarded too, right? Is that literally like the market wants single females, right? Because they're the greatest fucking consumer that has ever existed. Like if you want to turbocharge your economy, free women from the fucking shackles of motherhood. And they'll go and they'll buy cheap plastic shit till the cows come home on credit and just fucking overrun your economy. Right. And this is why, like, everybody's like, everything's going woke and da 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 da. Like, yo, yeah.
Because women buy everything.
Yeah.
It's
like,
funny. I actually, when you said that, I thought about it because I was thinking about what Halsey said on the show is that we should have manufacturing back. Because if all the other countries are making our shit and then they decide to tell us to go fuck ourselves, what can we do? We need to start making our own shit. And that's why, just enough with women buying everything. It's just so goddamn dumb. It's destroying us.
80% of consumer purchasing, was it?
Yep. Yeah, I think even more. Because think of it this way. I used to work at nights, so I would go to the store on my weekend in the mornings or afternoons, and it was 99% women. Not a single guy, like some children, but not a single husband, boyfriend. It was just women. I go, Jesus Christ.
And I forget the exact stat, but I think something like 90% of all clothes made are just thrown in the trash without ever being worn.
They went this way. I went to Barnes & Nobles, and the stuff I would buy would be like survival books, military, hand-to-hand combat, useful shit. What would a woman buy? Some stupid fucking clothes and shoes that she's not going to wear for like a month. Shit like that.
Today, I went and worked out in the same pair of shorts that my mother bought me when I was 18. I'm 28.
I still have a shirt from when I was in high school, freshman, and I'm fucking 29. For fuck's sake.
Yo, I literally, like, I did my laundry today, and like I'm folding up my clothes, and most of them are like old work shirts from companies that they gave me. Legit,
Yep.
right?
Well, why
You know
would
what I
you
mean?
throw it out? It's a free t-shirt, right?
No, and it fucking fits perfect. It's like nice and big and baggy. I fucking love it, right? Like it's fucking so comfy and shit, right? Or like they're fucking like I bought like I was on the road and like I didn't have any clean clothes and I needed fucking something to put on, so I bought like shit at truck stops or whatever. And I mean, so I have like 3 shirts from like Virginia, like one from Ohio, right? You know what I mean? Because like that's what they have there, right? But like I still have them, right? And that's like 3 or 4 fucking years ago. Like they're in my rotation on a regular basis. You know what I mean? Like I wear them once a fucking week. Like it's like I literally like I have 3 pairs of shoes, one's a pair of boots, and then 2 pair of sneakers, one of which I don't wear because they're way too tight at this point. Like it give me fucking ingrown toenails and shit. Right. But like I buy a pair of shoes once a fucking year, right? When I need them. I buy a pair of boots when I need them, like once every 2 or 3 years, because I don't fucking like really work anymore or like that. And like when I have something that's fucked up, I fix it, right? Like I fucking my washer broke or my dryer broke, the fucking handle busted off of it. So I just went and bought another one and fucking fixed it instead of like going and buying new shit, right?
Meanwhile, females will buy a new dress because they had already worn all of the ones that they had to a particular social event.
Yeah. So I mean, like, and this is really the problem in the end of the day. And this is what so when like you look at like a lot of the issues in our society, like you look at things like, black people whining about slavery and shit, right? The truth is, like, what they're bitching about is the way that motherfucking the propaganda that they sold the normal human beings about why slavery was okay. But the truth is that our fucking economic system, if it could and it does do this, it will motherfucking find a way to put people in fucking slavery. Right? Because like, that's what's best for the fucking system. Right? And that's kind of where you really have to get down to. When you start having these understandings of like what this shit is, right? It's literally like, what's the easiest way for you to make money? Don't pay your fucking employees, right? That's the easiest way to make fucking money. And that's what they do. And that's why like they have fucking overseas labor. That's why they bring in fucking immigrants, right? That's why like Joe Biden and his fucking crew is over here fucking flying immigrants in. That's why Trump was flying immigrants in, right? Why? Because like, they know that if you can stand here and drop the cost of fucking labor by bringing more labor in, literally it's good for business. That's the fucking point.
H-1B visas, and then after a while, well, you don't pay your employees. What the fuck are they going to buy at some point? They can't buy it. Isn't this what happened with the South with slavery? Like a lot of Southerners couldn't get jobs.
No, they'll put it on credit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, and that again, this is how they sold it, right? What black people are complaining about is how they sold it to the fucking regular people, right? So like when they fucking made up religious excuses and like did the evolution thing with Darwin, like black people are supposed to be in slavery, they're better there, right? That was how they sold it to white trash, right? That's how they justified shit. But it's not the truth. They just wanted cheap fucking labor.
Yep, and Florida man, that their argument you just made about the employees not making any money and not having any money to buy stuff, that is literally Karl Marx's argument on why capitalism eats itself, and on that particular front he was not wrong.
Yo, I was in a server the other day talking to an actual Marxist, and just the entire time he was like, based. How do you know all this if you're not a Marxist? I was like, bro, I'm a Yarvin dude. He said, oh, like, yeah, because like, fucking literally like fucking Yarvin is right-wing Marxism.
Oh, that dude. Yeah, I've been listening to that dude ever since I saw him on your channel.
Yeah, because fucking the Marxists aren't wrong about pointing out the problems. They're just terrible at finding solutions.
Yeah, their solutions are dumb as fuck, right? And like, then like you have to separate out like fucking postmodernism from fucking Marxism because they're way two different fucking things altogether. Like they're completely different entities, right? Like what fucking Jordan Peterson calls goddamn Marxism and postmodernism is he's fucking so goddamn wrong. Like he's literally doing a disservice to the entirety of his fucking audience by saying the shit the way he fucking says it. I'm gonna keep it 100%.
I mean, Jordan Peterson is king normie, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll be watching a lot. Like, I'll be honest, man. I fucking try to stay away from the news at the moment, right? Because I'm burnt out, right? And I'm outside working. I'm doing shit. You know what I mean? Like fucking tonight, fucking finally this wood's dry enough to motherfucking burn. So I've been outside fucking just burning shit all fucking day and doing all this shit. You know what I mean? Like fucking just.
I'm not gonna lie. That's why I haven't really watched much of TFM stuff for the past like 6-8 months. Like, I get it. Shit's fucked. I'm just focusing on my own shit now.
Yeah. That's what you got to do. You know what I mean? Like, build your own shit. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do. Handle your own fucking business.
Just enjoy life while I can at this point. There's no point stressing out.
Yeah. Yo, man, look, fucking enjoy the decline. You know what I mean? Like fucking Clary says and shit, you know. But like, yeah, just it is what the fuck it is as a whole, right? You know. And yeah, I watch Gad's Hat. I'm not a fucking huge fucking Willie Cauley, you like chopping wood. Bro, breaking skids is not chopping wood. All right. Fucking man, listen, like this dude, legit. Like he'd be in the hood just motherfucking like stealing skids off of docks and break them into pieces and throw them in his burn barrel at the motherfucking shop to stay warm and shit. Like, but anyway, right? Fucking yeah. It's I don't know, man. Like we have to like understand like what's going on in the world around us. And I think I've come to the point where it's like at any point, somebody can literally just come up and say, yo, why don't we just tell the government to go fuck themselves on taxes or something along these type of lines? And that'll be it. That'll be the end of America. And it won't be long until that happens because they don't have the ability.
Maybe the end of the American government, I'd say.
It'll be the end of America.
Well,
and I'm fine with that.
Technically, yeah. I just think that what's probably going to happen is it's going to be like post-Republic Rome, where in all ways the government is no longer existing, but everyone acts like it still exists. Arguably, we're already there.
I mean, will we maybe finally eventually just separate like we should?
I mean, that'd be nice, but
the government runs out of money. What are they going to do to stop us? Nothing.
Well, they can't run out of money. They have a money printer, right?
I mean,
that's kind of the problem.
Technically, like, yo, so I'm gonna do a video on this here soon, right? And like, because I did hear about like literally like fucking countries in Europe are now like trading oil for fucking rubles, right? And I'm not sure we're gonna have a hold on the world's fucking reserve currency here soon. So like that money printer is going to like just go burr and then everything's going to collapse.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, all of these random nonsense, like with the ruble and this type of thing, this is going to break your brain a little bit. It's actually because there's a lack of dollars. That is why people are paying in rubles. That's why they've been de-dollarizing to a large extent, is because they cannot get enough dollars at the moment.
Yeah, Halsey did a video. He was talking about in one of his shows that it's not as bad as people think. I have to rewatch it, but yeah.
Oh, no, like, understand that actually makes it worse because it, like, here's the thing, like, almost everybody has been operating under the assumption that dollars are going to get cheaper into infinity. And the fact is that what's going to happen is that while that is generally going to be true, there's going to be acute spikes where it gets really tough to get dollars over like 1 to 3 year time periods, right? And that is just going to absolutely fuck people because like the thing is that when you've got like a economic system that has over a prolonged period of time just like a declining value of the currency, is a lot of the systems just build around that. So if it just stalls out for a period of time, that fucks over a considerable portion of the people who are trying to ride this out. And what happens is that this just wrecks almost every emerging market. Brent Johnson calls it basically the dollar milkshake theory, where the idea is that because the US has the straw that was distributing like all the money throughout the different areas, what's going to happen is that the US is going to suck up all of that liquidity as this entire contraction happens. And the US is going to be the best off of any country. It's just that every country is going to be bad off.
Yeah, I've actually heard this conversation. Like, this is something that, like, I've actually, one of the few times that, like, you listen to the same shit that I did. Like, I heard about the dollar milkshake theory, what, like 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. They were having this conversation about this. And
yeah, Brent Johnson is still talking about it because he's been right.
Well, here's my mental, right? I see it, and all right. So if we stop exporting our currency as a whole, there stops being a demand overseas as much for our currency, we end up with the Weimar issue, right? Because the reason why, like, fucking the Czech and, you know what I mean, like the fucking what the fuck was the other country that did it down in fucking Africa? Zambia, fucking Zimbabwe, right? Yeah, the reasons why they had the problems they had wasn't so much the fact that they printed money, it's because they printed money and it didn't go anywhere, right? So, like, if you print money off and then, like, it has nowhere to go, you're fucked. Right. That's the issue.
And the issue that we're having is that we're actually in Triffin's dilemma. Like, Triffin's dilemma was the old issue of no one country can actually have a reserve currency based on gold, because what happens is that all the gold ends up just getting sucked out of that country, right? And what we did was we fixed that problem by just swapping out gold with dollars. So now the issue that we have is that dollars constantly get sucked out of America because more dollars are created in terms of loans outside America than the American economy even has. Right? So there's a constant demand for dollars outside of America. And what's worse is that every time a loan defaults in terms of American dollars, that increases demand for American dollars because that loan was a source of American dollars.
Well, like, so the way I've looked at it, right, is that basically
incorrectly.
The dollar. Well, no, man, listen, like, yo, the dollar.
I was being an asshole.
Yeah, the dollar and the treasury bill, right, are literally assets to other countries, right? That allow them to be able to borrow and, you know what I mean, like fucking utilize assets, or fucking like be able to commoditize and motherfucking like use it as a fucking reserve for them to be able to like, you know what I mean, like run projects or whatever the case is, or fucking government debt on, right? And so the reasons why the US, you know what I'm saying, fucking treasury and the US dollar has been this way. Well, the reason why the treasury's been this way, because the treasury has a fucking yield, right? And it's the only treasury in the world who still has a fucking yield, right? Because, you know, like, as you know, like the ECB's fucking treasuries and, you know what I mean, fucking Japan, China, fucking India, whoever it is, literally, like, yo, if you hold their fucking, their treasuries, like, literally, it's a fucking negative return on them. You know what I mean? So, and especially in the secondhand market. So, we've always been able to be the cleanest, dirty shirt in the motherfucking hamper, whether or not, you know what I mean, like, we're doing well. But if we get to the point where literally, like, they don't want to hold our debt anymore, or they don't want to stand here, the rest of the world doesn't want to hold fucking dollars because, like, they're trading with other fucking countries, right? And we're talking about places like Germany and fucking Italy buying fucking fuel and shit, not in dollars, but in motherfucking, you know what I mean, rubles. That's a bit of a fucking issue because Germany's not a fucking small economy, and neither is Italy. Right. So this is something that is a bit of a fucking issue, because if the demand for dollars gets hit on that level and we are still printing where we are right now, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to like tolerate it.
I feel you, but like at the moment, here's the issue. How are they pegging the ruble to the euro? Because I guarantee you what happens is that they use the US dollar as an in-between.
They don't, because Russia's not in the SWIFT system anymore, so they can't even touch fucking dollars.
No. Like, misunderstand me correctly. I'm not saying that they use it as an intermediate. I'm saying that they use the euro price in dollars and convert that to the ruble price in dollars. Right? So, like, this is really no. Like, this is critical, right? The dollar is not a currency. It's an accounting fiction that is backed by the US.
All right, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Go over the three things that the dollar's supposed to do, real quick, because like I got two of them, which is a unit of account and a store of value. What's the third one?
Medium of exchange.
Okay.
And number one, that's not actually supposed to be what the dollar does. That is what a monetary system needs to do, right? And that's critical, because as far as dollars go, like, the money isn't the money. The banks are the money. Like, the banks are the actual medium of exchange, store of value, and unit of account, right? And which is why our entire system is so fucked, because what we have is not really any sort of hard currency. What we have are banknotes, which means we have trusted ledgers ran by people. That's the
lost motherfucker too. I feel you, right? But like, yeah, fucking, like, I was having this conversation about those three things the other fucking night and shit. Motherfucker just straight goddamn disappeared and whatnot. Like, yo, fucking, hold up, he's back. All right, go ahead, keep going.
Sorry, I hit the back button. Basically, the problem is that our entire we've like outsourced the entire concept of mediating exchange to this system we call banking, without actually thinking about what the fuck it's doing, is the whole problem. Like, the problem with inflation is that people expect to earn some amount of something and to be continually able to exchange that for some fixed amount of whatever they want. However, like they don't put two and two together in that their labor that they exchange for that money isn't worth the same amount from day to day, right? You're paid the same amount because of the way our system works, but like that's an artificial constraint, right? What you do one day is not necessarily worth what you do the next day. You know this, Pinoid, because you don't work on like an hourly basis, right? But
yeah.
for most of our economy, part of the problem is that we're talking about people trying to understand a system with a whole bunch of moving parts, at least, a couple billion moving parts, because that's how many people we have. So, like, part of the problem with inflation is simply that people don't know what they want, so they can't save in a rational manner, right? Like, for
Well,
example,
it's also the problem of like when you're trying to save, right? It's the issue of dollar fucking deflation, as it were, right? I guess what we would call it. You know what I'm saying? Like we'd call it inflation. Like normal people would
When the
call it
dollar
inflation.
loses value, you talking about?
Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? So like literally, like when you're trying to save money and like that product ends up becoming worth more, right? Or you know what I mean, like whatever it is that you were planning to do or was planning, it ends up becoming worth more. Like it ends up becoming a massive fucking problem in general as a systemic issue throughout the entire fucking economy.
yep. And this is, I hate to say this is something that, crypto can fix, but in an ideal world, this is something that crypto can fix, because instead of like saving your money in X, Y, or Z, you can be like, all right, I'm gonna put however much of my money into this crypto that tracks with like housing prices in my area, that type of thing. Part of the issue though is that like our economy, I feel part of this problem is that our economy is just too complex for the average person to really make sense of.
Oh, 100, yeah, 100%, right? Like it's like being able to, and like let's keep this 100 too. I think we're entering a period where literally investment is fucking a dummy's fucking errand at this point, right? Like because it's like the investment is going the opposite fucking way, right? With the boomers pulling their fucking money out of the economy and out of the market, like we're kind of fucked at this point, right? There's not going to be increased growth in any market for the foreseeable future. You know what I mean? I think Zihan's 100% right on that. Like where it's not going to be answered until the 2040s, right? And I'll be honest, I don't think we're going to survive it as a country. You know what I mean? I don't think the state will survive it. You know what I mean? Like as a general thing.
I think we'll survive it as a civilization. Probably not as a formal organization.
Well, all right. So like again, like we had to get back to like having actual definitions for things, right? You know what I mean? And like we all conflate nation and state and country, and like it's not that those are three way different fucking things, right?
Entirely.
Right. Like, and I've been having this conversation recently. I'm probably going to do a video on it, right? You know what I mean? Like there's a fucking difference between a nation, a state, and a country, right? The country is a geographic location you live in. Your state is your fucking government, right? And your nation are your fucking people. Those are three goddamn different things, right? And when you start looking at it that way, you go, well, who really is part of my nation, right? California
I
is
do
not part of my
believe
nation.
I brought this up to you like 2 years ago, and you told me I was nitpicking terms.
I feel you. I feel you. But like, we're getting to the level where we're going to have this conversation now. Right. It's something that now we have to really talk about, because like when we start thinking about like what will survive, right? The state is not going to survive, because like
Yep.
they no longer have the ability to fulfill like the social contract at all in any way, shape, or form. If there's not growth, this state doesn't survive.
And let's be 100% real here. Like that's the same. That's fundamentally the same agreement that China had with its people. Like, we're going to deal with your bullshit as long as we have, economic growth. And I feel like that is the unspoken arrangement in most of the world at this point in time. And that's kind of the reason why we're having crazy shit happen. I know you were talking about how this food inflation nonsense was gonna be like a load of bullshit, but at least in a couple places, like bread prices have gone up like 3 to 5 times.
Yo, later, Dark Star, my brother. Yo, man, stay up. You know what I mean? Let me know you're all right. You know what I mean? I know like you're going through your shit and whatnot. You know what I mean? Fucking get some rest.
Good
Right.
to see you,
Anyway,
man.
right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, I'll be real. Like, so how do I put this? I always bought expensive bread. like I don't.
Yeah. But like, I'm talking as far as like impact on people goes, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, yo, well, again, like,
People just gotta cut their shit. Like, cut that
yeah,
Netflix out. Fucking, what's important to you? Food, or I don't know, another Netflix stupid ass series.
well, part of the problem is that like, um, all of you have probably seen that Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme where is like these people have never been poor before. They are what we call new poor, right? And that's definitely a real thing where a considerable portion of the country doesn't understand what it means to like actually tighten your belt. Like there I saw
wait, there's a great YouTube video I saw recently, right? Where literally, like, there's a guy, he said, you motherfuckers don't understand, like, yo, you can be poor and make it. Your guys are just doing it wrong. And like what he's doing is like, yo, he's up on top of his fucking roof, like washing his shingles, right? Like, yo, you can be poor, it just requires work. Right? Like, yo, you're gonna have to learn how to do some shit for yourself. You can't just be hiring motherfuckers to do things for you and expect everything to be okay.
Yeah,
You gotta fucking do shit on your own.
I feel like I heard that
motherfucker,
somewhere
like
before.
half of millennials can't cook.
Yeah, that is sad. I'm a millennial, but I
Yo.
cook for myself every fucking day.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be real. Like, every female I've ever talked to, I've had to teach how to cook.
I
Like,
mean, I'm not a
every
chef. I just
fucking
cook
one.
basic shit. It's like, it's pathetic.
Oh, no. Like, I'm like, bro, no. Like, literally, I stand here and I'm all fucking like, so I got kids and I feel bad, like, feeding them fucking garbage, right? Like, I feel like I'm poisoning my children by giving them shit, right? You know, and so in doing so, like, I had to learn how to fucking like cook, right? Like, I had to learn how to like really get it done. Like my career off, like as a human, like just in general, working in the back of kitchens, like short order line cooking and like McDonald's and Hardee's and like making bowlies at fucking your place and shit. Like, this is what I did for like the longest. Like, I can go to any restaurant and go in the back and get it done. You know what I mean? Like, I can fucking really actually cook. Like today, I sat there and like I fucking took some noodles, spy noodles, some motherfucking some hamburger. I put some motherfucking garlic, onion, basil, fucking some Saison.
You ever do that
threw it
Boondock
in
burger? The Boondocks ever do that burger? Make a donuts
boom.
bread for bread, bacon, and all that shit, and they get a heart attack later.
You know what that's called? Yo, that's called a Luther, son. Luther Vandross invented that.
That's Jesus Christ.
That's an actual thing. Now, that was not something they invented. That was an actual thing, right? But like, yeah, so like literally, like I did all this, and I took like American cheese and I put some milk in it, right? And I put some fucking sweet corn, right, in the motherfucking shit. And like that's what I fed my daughters for lunch today, right? That was lunch. It wasn't dinner. That was lunch. Right? Like this is what I do every day. Like I fucking actually get down and dirty and cook. You know what I mean? Like there is no like in my fridge, there's nothing in a bag or a box. Like nothing. I don't do that shit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm poisoning my children if I give them chicken nuggets and hot dogs. Go ahead, TK.
Yeah. The only thing I got in a box are eggs. That's pretty much it. I just either have chicken, vegetables, whatever.
Yeah. You know, like I didn't buy steak this week. I went and I bought pork steaks because I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna save some fucking money.
You meat.
About a quarter of our generation, I would say, probably can't even make a sandwich.
I don't think you're wrong, right? Legit, I don't think you're wrong, right?
No, please don't say that. Oh, God damn it!
Like, man, listen, like I'm trying.
That's just
like,
me shooting from the hip, but.
Like again, like we have to take everybody and educate them on like how to be human beings again. Like, yo, if you're gonna be poor, like again, like what did I do today? I burned off that shit. I changed out the rear brake pads in my truck, and I motherfucking took care of my kids all day, swept, motherfucking made 3 meals, and motherfucking trying to think here. I did some other shit. Oh, and I went to the fucking store, right? Legit. Like that's a Saturday. You know what I mean? Normal.
Yeah.
Like this is something that you kind of hinted at or at least brushed on in some of our conversations, Tom, but at least part of this is that we have to get people used to not moving all the fucking time, right? Because you can't actually spend money on saving money unless you're like putting down roots. We have entirely too large of a population in this country that is like rootless, deracinated, just in order to have a mobile workforce, right?
Yeah, I agree with you, right? Like Texas right now is literally recruiting people in like Kansas and Missouri and Illinois, trying to bring them down to get motherfucking workers into fucking Texas and shit.
I heard they're having an energy crisis over there in Texas.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Not too much. Well, I mean, like, I don't know about an energy crisis, but I know like they're having a problem with not having enough workers.
And it's not just Texas. I linked you a article, Pinoid, and I think it's something like about 2/3 of America by geography are expected to have some sort of blackouts this summer.
That's good.
Hey, I've lived with a full year in Florida without any AC. I got this.
Yo, look, all right. Again, y'all learn y'all motherfuckers don't know how to be poor properly, right? Legit. Like it's not that difficult to start a fire and cook shit for yourself. Like it's really not that fucking hard. You know what I mean? And like I'll be honest, and once you start doing it, like you'll enjoy it as a whole. Like that lifestyle becomes something that you kind of go, man, listen, this is kind of better than I had before. You know?
We're heading for a reliability crisis, says NERC's spokesperson. 2/3 of the United States are in a high risk of blackouts this summer.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't know why the fuck we were like at risk of blackouts. What the fuck is going on? Why are we at risk of blackouts?
Mostly because we've moved a large amount of our grid to renewable energy sources.
That's what I heard.
And that means that when you have like peak demand in times like the summer where you need to cool via AC, that puts a lot of strain on the grid. Like what basically they're predicting what happened in Texas a year ago in reverse, where all the windmills froze up and then they couldn't, heat a bunch of houses. Basically, they're predicting that there won't be enough wind blowing to cool all the houses.
I mean, like, I'm not sure where like they're that reliant upon. I mean, like, are the rest of y'all that fucking retarded?
Not
Some
just
of them are.
yeah. Like, understand that this is a federal issue, right? Because the federal government has been handing out these loans to move over like our power grids to like these renewable energy nonsense. And people aren't aware that if you have more than 1/3 of your grid be on renewable energy sources, that actually is a risk of instability, because you need some sort of massive like base load power in case, the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing. Right? Like this isn't just an us problem, by the way, Pinoid. I'm sure Pennsylvania also has somewhat this problem, although maybe not in some extreme. But just kind of rolling through this particular.
Well, I'm gonna say it like this, right? So, like in PA, okay, we have 3 nuclear power plants that provide the majority of the power for us and always have. We also have a ass ton of motherfucking like coal and natural gas fired fucking power plants that are just everywhere, right? And we have wind kicking in extra.
That's 4% of Pennsylvania is renewable, so you should be relatively good. Understand?
Like, no, we're not dumb. Yeah, like, yeah. We're not. You're like, do you understand? Like,
whoa, motherfucker! You're getting out over your skis a little bit too much. You are not smart. You are fucking lucky that you live on top of oil
and gas
and iron and on the fucking seaport and every natural fucking advantage you can have, and then you barely scrape by, and then you act like you're dragging your goddamn balls on the floor.
Mr. Thick Dick over here.
We love you, man.
Like, oh yeah, I'm a badass. I literally got a straight fucking flush and I barely didn't get bluffed down. Oh, I'm a goddamn badass.
Wait. You missed the fact that we're the transportation hub for the Northeast. Like you also missed that one as well.
Like, you motherfuckers need your cock slapped a couple times just to put you back in your goddamn place.
Oh, by the way, we also have Amish people who grow everything for us. Like, I don't know, we're kind of all right. You know what I mean? Like, we're,
I'm going to laugh when DC throws a hissy fit and just nukes you.
We're right next door. They'll get fucked up because they're fucking east of us. The wind will blow to them.
Yeah, you think they're smart enough to figure that out?
I am worried about that. I am, like, I'll be honest, we've had this conversation before. I am worried that, like, if DC starts throwing nukes, they're going to hit us and just not realize that they're fucking like, I am highly concerned about that happening. Because
they are not smart. I am scared. Some like, oh, God, they got nukes.
Yeah. Like, they'll be like, oh, it's a tactical nuke.
Yeah, they're fucking stupid. I know they're fucking stupid. I get it, right? But like, yeah, I'm saying, like, like, I know, like, so I've been through brownouts before, right? Like, we do have brownouts in the summertime, but we have this thing called functional government, right? Where what happens is they don't fucking take power away from people. They shut down like industry. right? So like, they'll shut down the steel mills and you know what I mean, like the fucking factories and shit. And that way, especially during peak hours when it's super fucking hot, like that happens all the time here. It's always happened, right? But that way they don't have to fuck over like the regular citizens and shit. You know what I mean? Because I'll be honest with you, we literally like you know how Florida man, like he lives in, and Joshua as well, he lives in a place where literally like every day he goes outside and feels like he gets wet smacked by a wet towel, right? We have the same problem here, right? Because the mountains just, they're like fucking giant heat sinks, and like all of like the fucking the trees and like the water that runs through just fucking just, it's 110% humidity fucking from May until fucking October, right? And so therefore, like you people need air conditioning sometimes, or at least a fan, something to move the fucking air around, because you'll some
And it gets
motherfuckers
worse at nighttime too.
yeah. I mean, it cools down somewhat at night, you know, because like you get some wind blowing at least something, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
but all
like,
that heat coming from the ground and everything. Oh
yep,
God,
yeah,
that
yeah,
here
yeah,
for
yeah.
me was.
There's a reason why the colonial buildings, they didn't just have one big house a lot of the time. They had like one house with rooms for sleeping, then one building with cooking equipment and all this type of nonsense. It's because you need to be able to cool these fucking buildings. And if you don't have industrial air conditioning, then you need to have a building that is small enough that a breeze can run through it.
Or hire a homeless guy to blow in your face every 2 minutes.
Even then, you got to give him enough water to keep him alive.
Yeah, Willie, it's like fucking 60 fucking 9 degrees right now at the moment. I'm telling, like, it gets fucking hot here and just stays hot, right?
It is 74 out right here.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Lately, the sun's been like burning my face. Not like humidity or just hot, it's just like really cooking it. Lately, it's
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm super dark already. Like, I'm fucking stupid dark already. Like, I'm fucking, man.
not white trash no more. You're tan
Yeah,
trash.
I'm full Mexican. I'm full Mexican right now, legit. Right? They used to call me a Mex-Italian when I worked at the
You
fucking
do look Mexican. I was like, wait, you're what? Like, oh man, that's Pino's real face. Wow.
Yeah. Fucking bitches is like my kids look just like me too. They come out and they're like all fucking like olive and shit, right? Their moms are all mad. They're like, "What the fuck? We look like you now?" I'm like, yeah, fucking dummy. That's how the fuck it works when you have a kid with a motherfucker with dominant traits. But like, yeah, and Pops is here. What up, Pops? Man, listen, man, fucking, I'll throw the motherfucking link in here for you, my brother, so you can motherfucking hang on here. Let me hit paste. There you go, buddy. Pops, you want to come in and fucking holler at us? You know, I mean, we were having a really good discussion. I suggest you go back and listen to the motherfucking shit, right? Pino's the only guy you know that can challenge my mustache. No, not at all. Right? Anyway, like my mustache is okay, but it's not that good. But yeah, fucking. So basically, like we have functional government, so we don't have to worry about brownouts. You know, tends to work that way. You know, fucking. So TK,
Not sure
fucking,
Florida needs to worry about blackouts, but
I mean, I live literally across the street from the power plant. I think I'm going to be good.
maybe.
yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah. Like
Well,
I feel like we'll
like,
be fine.
yeah, because there's a natural gas pipeline that goes directly from here to Cushing, Oklahoma.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Because we don't live far from Cushing, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know what Cushing, Oklahoma is, but that is where WTI crude is processed. It is basically the biggest oil and natural gas processing plant in Middle America.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think a lot of ours is processed in either Pittsburgh or Jersey. One of the two.
Yeah. Fucking, I'm solid as far as energy goes. It's going to get a little bit more expensive out here. But that's mostly because we have to deal with the fact that we're used to electricity being generated off natural gas, and we're used to natural gas being effectively free. So
yeah, our prices are supposed to go up like 30% or some shit like that. So like
we've
but
already doubled.
I'll be honest, we're paying some of the lowest in the country right now.
So what's your feeling on this diesel situation? I've heard some people saying that there's going to be a rationing coming here.
I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I've been to like some places where like, you know, you go in the office or whatever, do the paperwork, and like on the fucking office window, they'll have like a notice that sits here and says like, you know, they may be in short supply, or like fucking like there's gonna be places that are completely the fuck out of diesel and shit. And I haven't seen it yet, but I'll be honest, like, okay, where I work at, we get diesel where like we have diesel delivered like to our fucking place every day, right? So like we fucking get diesel at the shop. I don't get diesel on the fucking road. So I haven't really been, you know what I mean, like out here subject to a lot of this type of shit. I'm not sure like what's going to happen, but if they do start rationing diesel, things are going to get fucking ugly, like just everywhere, right? Especially like the fucking cities are going to be so goddamn fucked. I don't know how we'll be able to like in general keep the economy going. I I don't know. Like they're gonna have to shut down fucking like exports of fucking refined petroleum to the rest of the world. Like that's gonna have to be a fucking thing.
Don't worry, they'll just send out gas stimmies.
Well, that's not gonna help if you fucking don't have any.
But they'll send out more money, Pinoid. Don't you get it?
Yeah, just give us more free pretty Presco burrs. Just that's all I need.
Like that's not how this works, right? Like again, by the way, oh my god, did y'all hear that they're fucking putting in like mid-Atlantic fucking natural gas fucking holding tanks?
I'd believe it. So one thing I have heard, and I just was wondering your input on this, Pinoid, that for like the sake of not wasting gas, that you shouldn't let your tank get below half.
What, like in my car or in the motherfucking in the truck?
In the truck specifically, but I have also heard people say the same thing about cars. Basically, the idea is that once you get past half on the tank, like that's the point where it starts evaporating a whole bunch in the tank.
Okay, I understand your mentality. So like, all right, in the truck, I fill up every day before I fucking leave, right? And then, you know, I mean, in my fucking personal vehicle, like I fill up at the beginning of the week, and usually by the end of the week, I'm at like a quarter of a tank or whatever, right? You know, so like that tends to be just how that works as a whole. So like I'm like usually my tank stays above a half a fucking tank, and that's usually what I try to do. Like when I'm in fucking good times, I ain't there at the moment. Is just always keep the fucking tank above fucking half, just all the time. If it gets to half a tank, you just fill the motherfucker up. But I'll be real, this $120 a fucking tank thing is fucking murdering me right now. It's fucking vicious.
I feel you. And just because of the gas price, I've not been letting myself get under under 3/4 of a tank, just because I know that however long I put it off, it's going to end up costing more.
I'm mostly the same, but sometimes when I'm working overtime, like, all right, fuck it. Just do it now. So, yeah, usually it's like halfway. I start filling it up.
I mean, like, so how our transportation infrastructure works as a thing, like, I'm not real sure. Right, man. Listen, fucking, like, yo, what is this motherfucker doing in my motherfucking chat? Like, yo, how the fuck did you even get in here, bro? Right, live chat. Man, listen, like, yo, you're gonna have to motherfucking get the fuck out of here. Remove. Motherfucking, like, yo, hide user on this channel. Okay, good. All right, we're cool. Yeah, man, someone coming in, motherfucking trying to like fucking do some extra shit. Anyway, right? Yeah, like it's, I don't know, man. Like the last time this shit happened, they would crash our fucking economy back in 08. Like, I don't know why the fuck it's not doing it now. Maybe it's a fucking delayed reaction. I figured we would have fucking crashed by now.
It's because that a larger percent of our economy is operating on credit now, and that means that like it's more at the discretion of when the banks decide they're gonna stop like lending out the cash for it, which has already happened. Like Wells Fargo, all these places have already laid off massive amounts of people. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I have not.
Yeah.
No.
Wells Fargo, all these mortgage businesses, all these bank businesses, they've laid off a bunch of people. Walmart's looking at laying off people. Target's looking at laying off people. Amazon's looking at laying off people. Because all of them, what happened was over the last 2 years, they've been just trying to get as many employees as they humanly possibly can because they didn't have enough. But now the tide's turning where there's not as much of business anymore because we don't have a bunch of stimmies going through the economy.
I always hated that bullshit. That was such bull. I worked for one. They hired all those people for nothing. Trust me, those stores do not need all the people they would call fucking hired. It was always bullshit.
Oh yeah. Like understand that most of the time that for like people, like we were talking just a problem. Fuck, I guess it was an hour ago now. We were talking about how about between 10% and about a third of people in our economy actually do most of the production, right? Pino, do you want to try to narrow that down anymore? Like, I feel like that's a fair range.
Yeah, I would guess around 30%, 30 to 40%, right? I mean, I've seen like numbers where like 80% of the entirety of the fucking, you know what I mean, like people who have jobs say that their job's complete and utter bullshit and worthless and they're not really doing anything. Right. So I don't know. I mean, I guess like, yeah, fucking probably fucking 30% of the fucking population does the majority of the work.
Yeah, back real quick. When I was used to work at Walmart, I actually worked in the warehouse. They would drive us there, and I would do the pickup forklift, get all the packages and metal because they were doing remodeling. And every time they drove us back to the Walmart, at least twice a week, they would ask us, "Hey guys, can you two stay another hour or two because we really need the help?" Even though they had a store filled with other employees, it was always just us that was had to help them out for some reason. Because I guess we're the only ones ever doing shit. It's just God.
Oh yeah, you've always got the Pareto distribution there, where what is it? The 90% of the work is done by 10% of the people, right? But my point here was more of because so many of these jobs are superfluous, the reason they exist is to be a consumer, right? Like the purpose of the job is to have a job there to pump the money back out into the system.
Well,
right.
Well, let's hit this too as well, right? Because like a lot of these jobs only exist because of how low paying
Women.
a lot of the jobs are.
And
Right?
women.
And women, right? So like, all right, back in the day when you hired people, like you had to do a lot of math as far as like how many individuals you needed versus, you know what I'm saying, like what the cost of production was and shit, like the value added were whatever it was, right? And so
And you also had to train them.
yes, right. You had to train them. You had to fucking offer a pension. You had to offer fucking good health insurance. You had to fucking do all these things. Well, today, with a lot of these companies, what they've been doing, especially since like the Obamacare mandate, right? They fucking cut everybody back to like 34 hours or 32 hours a fucking week. Don't offer many insurance, pay them fucking dog shit wages, and then, you know what I mean, just hire more people because you're only going to get a certain amount of production off of individuals who you're paying like $9 or $10 an hour, right? That's just the reality of it. And so it's just literally cheaper for them to just hire a whole bunch of individuals to do shit that, you know what I mean, they really don't, you know what I mean, like fucking actually fucking care about whether or not like shit really gets done. Like that's kind of where things break down to. Go ahead, TK.
What up, Willie? Stop being poor.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you, man. I apologize for swearing. Am I allowed to swear here?
Yeah, you're allowed to
No.
swear. Whatever.
Yeah,
It's my fucking
All right.
channel. It's not a fucking work. Just don't like, you know, fucking talk about the Jews or mariachi bands, and we'll be all right.
Yeah, you know.
Don't talk shit about Florida, man, or Florida, really.
But yeah, dude, like a lot of I think the issue is there's a lack of blue collar, like young people going into the field. So that's another thing that's shutting down the economy.
There's a lack of young people, period. And just to double check here, I'm just fucking with you, Willie. I love you.
No, they're pushing
Yeah, we all love you, man.
these kids to go to like colleges for random stuff instead of actually going into the trades.
No, I mean, like, there's a lack of young people, period. Like, we don't have, we don't have enough young people.
All right, so like here's another part of this that like we don't discuss a lot either is the wealth transfer from the boomers to their fucking kids, right? Like, and it's not a traditional wealth transfer where like literally like, you know, like they're handing their money down or whatever it is, right? It's more along the lines of the fucking kids haven't left the fuck home or they moved back, right? And so they're just staying with their fucking parents and their parents are supporting them, right? So therefore, like they're no longer in the labor force because they don't have to be because their parents are just letting them live in the basement and play fucking Xbox all day.
82% of boomers are in debt.
Yes. Ain't that amazing?
Like I'm
That's
obviously
surprising.
rounding here, but 82%. That means that a little north of 8 in 10 boomers do not have anything that they can actually pass on to the next generation. That's
Because they blew it on cocaine and race cars.
Dude, like 80%
like
of them are fat
they
as
didn't
fuck.
they didn't just blow it. Like they blew years of income on it that they never reasonably had.
How many people over the age of 50 do you know that own a Harley?
Check this out.
My
Check this
dad
out.
doesn't own a Harley. He owns a big dog.
You know, here's a great stat. 52% of all millennials live with their parents.
Fact.
Are you fucking
Yeah, I believe
serious?
it.
Wait, I'll be considered a millennial. I was born in 92.
Yeah, so was I.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well,
Hey, I
like
don't live with my
93, but
parents,
yeah.
so that's a good thing.
I
It took me a
mean,
while, but I finally got out of my damn mom's house.
I was living with my parents like 2 years ago.
Willie still lives with his parents. Like,
No, I don't.
you live with your brother, and like I'm assuming that's a family house.
It was my grandfather's.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So anyway,
yeah.
right. Yo, literally 52% of all millennials are living with their fucking parents right now. Right.
It's
So
generation, we pass it down.
So again,
Yep.
you know, I mean, labor force, literally the labor force is shrinking, right? And what is it? Something like 65% of all millennials went to college. So they all think that they're overqualified for blue collar jobs.
Mm-hmm. And all of them are actually underqualified for those jobs, as I found out.
How many millennials actually dropped out of high school? That would be a good stat.
I don't know. I know 65% of them went to college and like they didn't drop out of high school.
That's what fucking insane.
I did technically community college, but when they asked me if I wanted to transfer to a university, I said, fuck that. I just want to start working already. Thank God I did, because that would have been a huge waste of time.
You're a blue collar man too, right?
Pretty much. I mean, all the jobs I did were just like legit labor, warehouses, all that shit. Right now, I'm trying to go back to school to either fix computers and then fix guns. I want to do shit with my hands.
And you get in touch with you later.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, even though the millennials had a higher rate of going to university than boomers, 42% versus 41%. A smaller percentage actually graduated high school. 88% of millennials graduated high school period versus 90% of boomers.
Actually, as of 2019, the lowest recorded rate of motherfucking dropouts occurred, and it was at motherfucking 84.1%. Was the highest graduation rate.
Yeah, that's including equivalency degrees, like GEDs and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So like 88% including GEDs.
I'm in that statistic.
Meanwhile, the boomers had 90% including GEDs.
Yeah. So 15% of all fucking millennials motherfucking dropped out of fucking high school is kind of where we're at minimum. Right. So, I'm saying like, man, listen, just in general, like the millennials are fucked and America's fucked because the millennials are fucked. Like they're never going to do as good as their parents. Like it just is what it is.
At the very least, not at the same point in their life. Right. Like I am hopeful that our generation, because of this bullshit that we're going through, will end up dying in a better state than the boomers. Maybe not necessarily like.
Are you making a joke?
No. Like as far as like I think what will happen to the vast majority of the boomers is that they're going to die in a retirement home, alone and attended by a nurse, barely.
The guy I used to rent a room with, fat, he's a baby boomer, fat as a house. He got a heart attack one day. I wasn't at the house. I come back, I ask my neighbor, yo, where's he at? He's like, oh, he's at the hospital. He had a heart attack. I'm like, why am I not surprised? He comes back. I shit you not. He comes back with his brother. He has like the tubes, whatever, on his hand still from the hospital. The doctor gives him a note of what not to eat. He can't smoke anymore. His brother made like a little joke going, oh, I guess you can't smoke anymore. Ha ha ha. And then he just pulls out a cigarette and just starts smoking. It's like, you fuckers just want to die. You know you're pathetic as shit. Like, I think they know they suck, the boomers.
Right. So my thing is, I think our generation is not going to have the option of dying in a care home. So I think that, right? So like,
Dude,
I
our
think
generation's gonna die homeless on the street.
No. Like I think what's gonna happen is we're going to end up living off our younger relatives, which sounds terrible, but I think it'll make our generation actually
care more.
be an older generation. You know what I mean? Like here's
Do you
like the
feel
problem with
sadness when
the
someone works on your shit instead of yourself?
well,
that's
no,
well,
no,
that's
no.
well, I mean, all right.
Go
Like I
for it, Tom.
understand. Okay, I get where you're at, right? So, okay, with how shitty the boomers are and have become, right? As grandparents, as parents, whatever the case is, right? You know, I'll be honest. I think we're going to do a lot better, right? I think that we're
Low
going
bar.
to 100%. That's a low bar, but like, yo, our parents are fucking dog shit when it comes to being parents as a whole. And this entire generation, like, there's this meme where it's like, as like fucking grandparents are concerned, right? They're literally like looking at these fucking kids who they had, and now they have kids. And the kids go, hey, you know, like, fucking, you want to watch the motherfucking baby and shit for me so I can, you know, go do whatever the case is or whatever it is, right? And the parents are going like, oh, fucking, why would you need help? Fucking need to be more of a responsible parent. And the kid looks at him and goes like, yo, I spent all my time at fucking grandma's house. The fuck are you, like, what are you talking about? Right? But this is what the boomers are doing. And the millennial kids are standing here, like the millennial fucking, you know, adults at this point, the older ones of us, are standing here looking at our fucking parents going like, yo, I will never be like you. I'm never going to be a piece of shit the way you were. I'm going to fucking be here for my fucking kids. And, you know what I mean? If they want to like fucking live with me till they're fucking 50, I don't give a fuck. It'll be what it is. And we'll get through this bitch as a family together, because these boomers are such self-centered, self-important piece of shit fucking human beings that, like, literally, you know what I mean? I think that we're going to try and just go the opposite direction because of how garbage they are.
Yeah, and that could be a
What
good
amount-
thing in a way.
Yo.
Is
What
that
about-
if we you know, live with our kids and take care of them, you know, we give them the house, you know, it might form a stronger community as a whole, stronger families. You rely on each other. You know what I mean?
I feel
Yeah,
Like
like
my grandfather
like-
for 10 years.
Yeah, like my mom, like I took care of my grandpa. I drove him back and forth from dialysis and shit every fucking day, right? And my mom divorced me, right? Like, as a person, like, she handed me everything she ever fucking saved from me from being a kid, and like hasn't spoken to me in like fucking 12 years, right? And she has grandkids she's never met and has no idea what their names are or what they look like, and knows it, right? That's how shitty fucking boomer parents are.
Yeah, my point was more of a vast majority of us will not be able to afford to do that.
I feel you.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
And
I agree.
you know, you could say that we would end up being better people because of that, but anyone who's ever like broken a horse or trained a dog or fucking raised a kid knows that for the most part, people and animals don't really do the right thing unless they have to. And I think what's going to happen is that, unlike the boomers, we are going to have to be a better elder generation than the boomers have to be.
Whatever they leave
yeah.
us, right? And you're right. People are like water. We'll take the path of least resistance. So, like outside of the Quakers that extinguished any kind of autonomy outside of their clique, right? It didn't fit in, and you had to completely leave there if you didn't want to get along, if you didn't go along to get along, right? So what happens is if your environment provides no resistance, you become wild.
The only bit I'm going to push back on you there is that, like, Quakers were actually incredibly fucking tolerant. Like,
Yes, they were tolerant of other people's lives, you know, beliefs, but not behaviors. Like if you were out of
like
line.
they were entirely tolerant
Yeah.
of people's behaviors, beliefs, all this type of thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Tom
yeah.
would
The
not
Quakers were
be
amazing.
talking to you if the Quakers were an intolerant people.
Yeah, like literally William Penn being, you know what I'm saying, like the first major Quaker as a whole, right? he fucking set up a society and set up a city and a fucking. We had a constitution before the United States did. It was called a Charter of Privileges that literally like endowed people with the right to free speech and fucking autonomy without like fucking molestation of motherfucking the government, right? And the right to motherfucking hold on to your property, like no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And like, yo, the Quakers were super, super tolerant of other people. Like they invited, like that's why like the Quakers all came from England, but like if now when you think of like the Amish, they're all fucking Germans.
Well,
What up?
correct me
What
if
up,
I'm
Carmen?
wrong.
Like, what up, Kermit? But yeah, the Quakers effectively self-immolated as a culture in order to create like a buffer zone that like Shetalians and all these goddamn degenerates can inhabit now.
Well, I know I'm getting
Fuck
off
off,
the point a
nigga.
little bit, but correct me if I'm wrong, but the Quakers were very intolerant of children.
I'm not wrong.
And
Yeah.
also looked upon
Irish,
adultery
everything,
as, you know,
everything.
No, that was
horrible crime.
that
That was the Puritans.
Oh, I'm thinking
the
Puritans. I'm sorry. I said Quaker. I meant Puritan. All right. So,
yeah, the Puritans. Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to
Puritans
get at.
are entirely different. They came from a different section of England. They had a different doctrine. They had different freaking philosophies. Like, God damn it. Now I'm going to have to send you this fucking audio book.
No, right.
Yeah,
No,
we're all
no.
reading
The
it.
Albion, this
We're
is where
all-
we're all referencing, because you brought this up the other. This is where we're all at right now. We're
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, we're
So-
all reading it now. Like fucking, you're gonna have to read it too just to keep up with the conversation, Mountain. I'm sorry. I'll buy it for you on Audible if you want me to. I'll give it to you for free if that's what you need.
All right. Hey, that works. Hey, listen, there's another point to that, though. You guys were talking about slavery, and as it was explained, the planters, like you said, all these different people who settled the U.S. had their different cultures already, right? So Tom Sowell tells us that the rednecks were really from the highlands, and that's where all that shit comes from. And slavery came from the aristocracy that came in with their indentured servants. And when their contracts expired, they were like, well, we're not going to wean ourselves off of free labor. So slavery took its place.
Yep. The South created chattel slavery. The chattel slavery did not create the South. That is 100% correct.
Like it's 100% correct. Like,
one of the things that,
yeah, the South,
right,
like go to like they tried it in the North, but all right, so like again, like the problem when you have a conversation at all about slavery, it just as an in general thing, it's just the fact that, you know, like our economics, right, is oftentimes like masked behind like religious bullshit, right? Like even like George Bush sat here and like was like, yeah, man, fucking capitalism is, you know, right next to Christianity with Western values. And she's like, shut the fuck up. Like, man, listen, Jesus threw the fucking money changers out of the temple, you dumb motherfucker, right? But like, this is something that's propaganda to allow to continue the motherfucking bad practices of individuals who are fucking business, right? That sits here and, you know, I mean, really pushes the point forward and sells it to human beings, and then like basically, you know, I mean, like puts individuals and like and ends up like fucking us all up because it's all propaganda in the end of the day to allow individuals to make more fucking money.
Thomas
be more
Carlyle
focused
called
on local
economics the dismal science, and I think he's not wrong, because it's like I feel like on some level we have gotten a little bit too much obsessed with this like rationalist materialism. And I realize that that's quite a thing to say as a physicist, right? But the fact is that the vast majority of the things that you care about as a human being, as a day-to-day thing, aren't necessarily like hard and fast and empirical. A large amount of it is very soft and sloppy and social. And so what we're running into an issue here of is that we have a mentality and a bunch of ideologies that are built around trying to figure out how to make like physical things happen when that's not actually what we care about most of the time.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, right? But like again, I just get tired of the rationalization of bullshit, right? It's like people like who stand here and go like, "Oh man, innovation and fucking technology is going to solve all these fucking problems," and it's like, no, it's not. It'll just continue to make shit worse, right? Because like every time we have an advancement in like human fucking technology, the human being itself gets worse, right? Like we started off as being like proper human fucking animals and creatures that were perfectly adapted to be able to fucking deal with like their fucking environment and climate around us. And now we turned into these fucking animals that literally our teeth don't fit in our head anymore. And we have no ability to be able to like build social bonds between with other human beings. And
I think a lot
go ahead, man. Do your
I
thing.
think a lot of it is with there's just external forces. Like human beings left themselves. Like look at like a smartphone. Like everybody uses that to say that's kind of destroyed society. But like people should be using that like they do in Star Trek to like enrich your life. Like whatever task you do, that thing assists you. But what we're using, those things are being used to track us and figure out where you sit in some kind of like social demographic score, a la like China and Google. I mean, there's always, you were talking about slavery, like there was all kinds of shenanigans with banking and shit. And you look at like Democrats, like they want to ban
the world down.
What's that?
They thought Beavis and Butthead, the show on MTV, would fucking drive the world down. You remember that?
Yeah, this is what I mean. There's external forces that try to like politicize things and then use them to like tighten the screws on society so they can control it better. You know?
Okay,
what I mean?
but like how external is that type of force though?
Well,
like
all right, so
you're talking about a human being like they're not a part of society, and I don't know very many human beings that can speak that have not been socialized to some extent.
It's good.
Well, most people
evil.
are idiots. 9 out of 10 people in a room are a moron. They're useful idiots, like you see being used. I mean, they just don't understand. You know, like.
Well, like,
all right. What
about like planned obsolescence?
Like, so like,
we should have goods that are cheaper and last longer now, but it's all bullshit. Like everything's baked to die fast, you know. So it just gets worse and worse. People don't want to buy shit that breaks.
Well, like, so like, here's the thing, right? So like, when it really comes down to it, what you're really looking at is the commodification of like fucking our lives through like fucking this idea that anything can become fucking advertisable and motherfucking like fucking sellable, right? Like everything that we have and everything that we do. I told you this is the oldest fucking 28-year-old in the world. Fucking, but like everything that we fucking do as a whole. Well, you turn the camera off, you're fucking slowing my computer down. Right? Fucking like everything that we motherfucking do as an in general thing, it is fucking like available to be advertised for. And it's available for individuals to utilize to be able to make more fucking money. And that's kind of like where the problem comes down to, is that there's no real, like me and Mountain were having this conversation the other day. So like, Karma, if you wanted to sit here and like have people eat better, right? You couldn't do it on an individual basis and reach the entirety of your society to make them more healthy. You understand what I'm saying? Karma.
I agree. Like I said, 9 out of 10 people are morons and they're just going to follow.
So if you wanted people, if you wanted human beings to eat better and stop having diabetes and like being overweight, how would you do it?
Fuck, man, it depends on the person. I don't know. That's a tough question.
You can't do this you can't do this individually.
Oh shit.
I mean, like,
I'm not into that stuff, man. Like doing blanket things with people. That's not the way I do things. Like,
Well, I feel you. I feel you. But
saying.
again, like, so, all right. So, like right now, at the moment, right, we have this problem of where 90% of all healthcare spending is spent in the last like 3 months of a human being's life, right? And one of the largest problems facing our nation as a whole is obesity and like the problems that come from it, like diabetes, high blood pressure, or fucking, fucking busted joints, things of this nature from carrying around all that weight, right? And these are things that we have to deal with on a regular basis. The shit we have to deal with all the time, right? Like human beings being shitty human beings. And so if we as a society or we as like a community wanted to be able to sit here and like go, look, man, you're going to have to fucking eat better, right? Like you could sit there and tell people till they're blue in the face that they have to stop doing something. Like, but there's no way that you would ever get a single mom to stop feeding their fucking kid chicken nuggets and fucking, throwing the oven pizzas.
I get it, man. It's like but you don't have to feed them fucking poison. You know what I mean? It's
I
freedom of
agree.
choice is the freedom to choose poorly unless the options are limited. So the whole discussion boiled down to, do you want to take control of the options?
It is a privilege of the dumb to be guided by the wise.
Yeah, your best bet in that situation, the only solution you really have, if you wanted to fix it, is to literally eliminate the options. Is to go,
Right.
we're just going to take these off the market.
But it could be done. I mean, here's the thing: you could have pizza. You could have cauliflower crust pizza that was actually keto friendly and non-carcinogenic if you had the right incentives in place. I look at it like this. I've been reflecting on this conversation a lot, right? So
Right.
money isn't evil. What I think we have is a lot of poor good people and a lot of rich evil people because of time.
No.
I don't think it says in the book that having money is bad.
Not at all. I don't think it's a rich and a poor thing at all, right? I think it's literally like, so as we went through as a fucking country, as a state, right? We had to make decisions on how to be able to feed individuals, fucking in mass, right? As a whole, like how do we be able to make sure that we have enough calories for individuals to be able to like stay alive? And back then, when we made these decisions, which were in, like after the Dust Bowl in like the 1920s and shit, 1930s, when we made these decisions to go like, all right, so what we'll do is we'll subsidize corn farming and wheat farming, and like companies sprung up around this, and like we just continued to do this because like individuals at that point were mostly all industrial workers. Something like 70% of the entire population worked in a factory, so like you burn those calories to fuck off and it wasn't that bad, right? And on top of that, like the ability of individuals to fucking stand here and feed their fucking kids, like regular shit, or be able to feed their kids a shit all the fucking time was non-existent. And we never readjusted. Like these policies went into place and never disappeared. Like these, I think the first time farm subsidies were ever adjusted was under George Bush Jr., right? The whole way back from fucking the 1920s. Right. And under fucking FDR and all this type of shit, right? Fucking during the mid 1930s, right? Literally, that's the last time they were adjusted until George Bush fucking got rid of some of them. Right. So like these ideas of what we've been doing is something that developed over time as a response to like fucking major problems. And we just never fucking adjusted what we did. So it's not poor and rich people as a whole. It's literally like an entire system that's fucking completely broken. And we don't have any conversation about it at all.
The only thing I'd throw on top there is that during the Cold War, we also like caught this habit of wanting shelf-stable foods a little bit more than is healthy. And that was because we were afraid we might have to hide out underground for like a year or two at a time. And so like having some slightly poisonous but shelf stable foods was better than not having any foods at all. But we never got out of that mindset, and we're still using those same preservatives now.
Yeah. Like
Right.
these,
So
this
bread
was,
bread wasn't evil until high fructose corn syrup was invented in the lab. Like, dude, when like think about the seed
no,
oil thing. When
no,
they
not
turned,
yo, dude. Bread hasn't changed, right? Like yo,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
it
so much
has.
as
Dude,
like bread.
you
Yo,
eat
there's no high fructose
MRE
corn
bread.
syrup. Yo, there's no high fructose corn syrup in your fucking bread, right? What
There
it is,
are a lot of dough conditioners and shit, though.
right? I
Yeah.
feel you, but like yo, but what it is, right? And these are things like the dough conditioners are things like baking soda that was invented in I think the 1940s, but fucking like actually, you know, it's something that's actually existed forever, but it wasn't actually considered baking powder or baking soda until what, like the 18 fucking 90s or something like that when it first got sold that way. Anyway, right? But like, yeah, so there's no high fructose corn syrup in your bread. The problem is we have changed what we do all day. Right? Like, yo, carbs aren't bad if you have to go work in a foundry or if you're out in a farm and you're like fucking tilling a field all day by hand. If you're picking potatoes or if you're like fucking picking tomatoes or grapes all day, you're moving horses and mules around.
Technology has made things a lot easier. We're not
Yeah.
out.
And
Fuel.
one part I'm going to push back on you there, Penoid, is that seed oils are a relatively new addition to our diet as far as like the prevalence, right? The vast majority of fat prior to the 1900s was animal fat.
Yeah, and
It's
here's
always
where I
been
talk about good and
variable.
evil, because when you see in a lab what it does to people, like when you do these experiments, like this really causes unhealth, right? So they decide, instead of saying, you know what, we got to take this shit off the shelf. Sorry, people, we thought we had the answer. Turns out this is bad for you. Instead, what they decide to do is monetize it. And they're like, no, sell it. Go call our ad agency, come up with some bullshit, go get Bernays on the line, tell it, you know, get him to sell this shit to everybody so we can make our money, and tell them that seed oils are good for you, bacon, lard, and beef tallow is what's killing you. It was the complete opposite of the truth. That's where I'm coming from with the good and evil shit. So who made the money? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What made me jump on earlier was you guys talking about like people starting to kind of shift into like a based red pill type mentality, like in America, like the culture. And like I was talking about this with an older guy who was telling me that like kids, he's like the counterculture always like bounces back. So like we've been pushing to the left so hard, and all these teachers have been shoving this shit down these kids' throats. Like they go the opposite direction. Like that's what teenagers do. Like whatever.
Nah.
So like you're gonna see a generation of kids that'll kind of go the other direction, and I see a lot of people that are just kind of making fucking gardens, like what do they used to call them? I don't know. And it's easy to go on YouTube and learn how to do these things.
A victory garden. Where
Before
you can grow.
The problem I
in
see
small
with
space.
that is the system's neatest trick.
Yo, Uncle Ted's my man's. But yo, surplus karma, 44% of fucking kids that ain't trans.
44% of kids are what?
Trans.
Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, but like there's going to be a bounce back from that, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if it's right now, but like maybe the generation before all that, like they're just going to look at that shit and try to be different, because that's what teenagers do. Like,
No. This is all right. Like, all right. I don't think I've ever explained to you, like what postmodernism is, right? So, like, a lot of people think, like, all right, let me break this down for you, because this is important to understand in this like whole ideology, right? So, like, it's not Marxism. This is postmodernism. It's basically like America dropped the bomb, right? You know what I mean? And World War II was a meat grinder, and the advent of industrial weapons of war that can wipe off an entire civilization, right? With, you know what I mean, like a push of a button, or with, you know what I mean, like fucking howitzers or whatever the case might be. It kind of destroys the male's place in a society, right? And once you do this and you take away, you know what I'm saying, like the male's position in, you know what I mean, his community and
Dude,
his family
I
as
know
the
all that
protector.
shit.
Right. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, so like this is postmodernism, right? And like the end result of postmodernism is literally like motherfucking individuals being fucking gender fluid. So that like, because they don't have that like responsibility or that fucking commitment to have to be the individuals that they, you know what I mean, are supposed to be. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, like if you're not a male or a female, that means you can work with males or females.
I understand that. I just think that there's a natural I can't think of the word, like affinity of teenagers to just kind of go against the grain, man. And I agree with you. We're in
they
postmodernism
will.
right now. We're watching. You just said 44%. That's fucking astounding.
They
Like,
will. The
that
issue
wave
is
crashes way up on the shore, but it also is going to pull way the fuck back too. So
yeah. So like the systems neatest trick, which I alluded to, was that what happens is every generation feels the need to rebel, and the system presents it with ways to rebel that reinforce the system. This is like why all these like why our generation was railing against like racism, sexism, this type
and
of
I
thing.
agree with you. It's like they moved the bar to 44% trans. It's never going backwards, but like the next generation will clap back a little bit. But then, like you said, it'll level off and that'll be the new norm and then it'll go up.
No, like it's not that it's leveling off and being the new norm and all this type of nonsense. It just constantly swims left. It always just unrelenting gale of progress, like the march of history.
Cthulhu always swims left,
which is really the point, because it's progress. It's just progress in any direction. It's like a, you know, when you take the stick off a fucking bottle rocket.
Yo, no. All right.
Evil has
this goes back to
extinguished
another point.
itself.
Like,
It's
people
the
aren't
divorcing.
necessarily doing it on their own. You know what I'm
No.
saying? Like,
It's the
somebody's
divorcing.
kind of nudging them. You know?
No. All right. So like, this is all right. This is liberalism. This is the end result of liberalism, like actual liberal, like old school liberalism. This is the end result, right? Because liberalism is basically the ideology that the individual is the end all be all of motherfucking like your entire fucking experience, right? And what you want to do as an individual is be able to motherfucking like divorce yourself from the entirety of all responsibility for your fucking community and society so that you can be as free as possible. Right. And this is what this is. That's what this trans shit is. It's the end result is like literally like, I'm not even going to conform with the fucking natural values of the fucking.
Isn't this how Rome was gonna fall, or just before it fell? Was the whole gender thing?
No.
Every
like,
civilization.
Yeah. Like, so this is like urbanization. This is motherfucking liberalism. This is, all right. Anyway, right. So like, the basic premise is that like literally like, this is these individuals being able to stand here and not have any fucking ties to anything but themselves, right? Because like, they are fucking completely free from being able to have any fucking responsibility or any type of fucking like honor or tradition that would hold them back from motherfucking like being an international citizen.
Give me the missile codes, Pinoid. I'll hit the button right now. Every blue county in this fucking country. Well, bam.
Except that wouldn't do anything because I don't know if you've noticed, but like the quote unquote red counties are still significantly more far left than the blue counties were like a couple generations back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we're all fucked. Everybody's just stupid, and you know.
I live in the Appalachian Mountains. Wait, I live in the Appalachian Mountains. There's horse shit on the motherfucking road, fucking like going by fucking my house and shit, right? From the Amish people going through. I was at the park shooting basketball, watching my kids play. and a little girl comes up to me who's like fucking 13 and goes, "You can call me Axel. My pronouns are she, her, ja."
Holy fuck.
Get out of here.
Jesus Christ.
Me, right?
I'm in the Appalachian Mountains.
Was she a
Like-
tourist with her parents or something? That just doesn't sound.
No.
Maybe she was just fucking
Were they
with
just
you.
getting some maple syrup or maybe a shed or something?
No, literally, like, fuck. Again, you have to understand that, like, all this is spread through fucking universities, right? And, like, yo,
the teachers union's cancer.
yeah,
I think it's spread
yeah,
through cell phones and programs.
yep, and TikTok and all the bullshit. Legit.
I don't know. Hitting the blue counties is a start in my book.
Man, listen, like, I'll be real. Like, I watched an 11-year-old today, like, fucking his mom took his 4-year-old brother's motherfucking phone from him. And he goes, "Why would you do that? That's his comfort."
That's the son husband.
Yo, son,
His
this
blanket
is
his cell phone.
this is life, son. This is the new normal.
I get
Motherfucker. This is the new normal. It
We
is
all
what it is.
bugmen now.
Yeah. Like, yo,
We ain't all bad. I mean, shit. You guys
Is
are
this
all
the
right.
end game now?
I mean, like, yo, look, bro, you see, I got fucking 2,800 subs on fucking YouTube, dude. You know what I mean? Like, yo, and I got pretty good message and decent quality motherfucking content.
I've always
Right,
liked you.
Yeah, I feel you, but I'm saying, like, legit, like, I'm not a million sub dude, right? And we're all right. We're normal. You know what I mean?
If you do
Like,
an
yo, we're normal.
OnlyFans, you get more.
Yeah, I feel you, right? But like, yo,
You
we're normal, right? Like, yeah, like, yo, fucking, we're not normal anymore, dude. We're way outside of the motherfucking box.
I mean, Florida man's never really been normal, but I get your point.
Yeah, I feel you, right? We're inclusive. We're even inclusive, like, legit, like, fucking, you know, I invite on the motherfucking retarded genius and shit on a regular basis, right? Like, it is what it is, man. Like, this is where we are. This is what we're
Like,
going
if
to
20 years ago, someone went up to me like, listen, in 20 years, gender's not going to be a goddamn thing, and they just disappeared, I wouldn't know what the, like, what? It's almost unreal. Sometimes I think, this is reality. This is actually happening.
Gender was just a word that they made up in the 60s and 70s so that they wouldn't have to say the word sex.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. You know, I mean, like, yo, they again, like, dude, this is, understand, like, a lot of the things that we fight for, you know what I mean, like, his whole libertarianism and, you know what I mean, like, liberalism and, you know what I mean, Western civilization is basically the religion of motherfucking the upper class fucking, you know what I mean, aristocracy who are international citizens and literally just want you to motherfucking let them do whatever the fuck they want wherever they are, so that they don't have any friction when they try to sell you shit.
It's uber Calvinism, which means that their idea of liberty is their liberty to live in a theocracy.
Yep. It is what it is. So look, man, I've been doing this about 3 hours. I'm fucking exhausted and I need to go to sleep because I got to wake up my fucking kids in the morning. So, like, I'm going to holler at y'all motherfuckers later. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. It's appreciated. You know what I mean? I know, like, a couple of y'all just got here. You know what I mean? It is what it is. TK, Florida Man, Surplus, Karma, motherfucking Willie Cogley, Mountain. You know, everybody in the chat. Love y'all motherfuckers. Y'all know what it is. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that motherfucking notification bell. Like, unhit it, re-hit it again, unhit it, re-hit it again. Because, like, yo, YouTube fucking hates me. All right? I'm gonna fuck out of here. Peace be like one of my brothers.